Second story I want to talk about today is, are quarantines a good idea for the elderly for the next few years? So obviously, as I said at the beginning, a lot of people are fed up with the mask mandates. A lot of people are fed up with all the rules, the lockdowns, the quarantines. Like every bit of this COVID-19 year has been psychotic. I mean, nobody really likes it. I don't care if you're liberal, conservative, you love masks or not. It's not a fun year. I mean, maybe you had fun. I had a good time, but you get what I'm saying. This is not ideal. Nobody wants to live like this. But one thing that I see both sides kind of agreeing on, and it's kind of troublesome to me, is the argument to let us be free and walk around. It's like, let's not quarantine the healthy, let's quarantine the immune deficient, and let's quarantine the elderly, and then let everybody else go throughout society. But to me, it's like, why do you lose your rights just because you have an immune problem, or maybe you have a comorbidity, or you're 90 or 80 years old? Why do you lose the freedom in the last couple of years of your life? Whether you live 10 or 20, I don't know how long you're gonna live. Hopefully you live till you're 130, but why does that make it okay for your kids, for your nursing home, for the government, to say, well, you know, we've now decided that you can't meet up. We're not going to have any sort of gatherings. We're not going to have music. Where my aunt used to stay, they used to have jazz nights, and they would have, you know, a communal center, because that's good for elderly people. If you don't have like a social life, it's way worse for your mental state and your physical state. I mean, the elderly need communication just like younger people do. And that's what has already been studied in Italy, what helps keep them alive. Yes, there's genetics and diet involved, but a lot of it is they have a great social community. So they're slashing out the social community of the elderly and acting like it's a good idea. And what's their justification for it? Nobody even puts this stuff together. They're saying, well, look at the survival rate of the elderly. It's worse. It's like 95% or something. I don't know exactly what it is. You got to look it up. But it's like, yeah, it's obviously if you're 90 and you get COVID, you're going to be more likely to die than if a 20-year-old gets it. But is there any virus on the planet that doesn't act that way? From pneumonia, if I get pneumonia, I'll be fine. If a 90-year-old gets pneumonia, they're going to have a bigger chance of dying. That's just, everybody knows that. I don't think there's a single flu, virus, pneumonia, and I'm not saying it's the flu, but what disease on the planet isn't harder to conquer when you're older? That's how it works. But that was never justification to shut down the elderly and treat them like slaves and prisoners. This is not healthy. So of course I want everybody to be free. I'm tired of the mask mandate. I'm tired of the lockdowns. I'm tired of all this stuff. I think it's a total overreaction. I don't think the data supports it whatsoever. They lied every step of the way. In March, they said it was a 3.4%, death rate, and I called that out. Why am I more accurate than the experts? Why did I make a video in March and say, guys, that's not the real death rate? I said that. You can find it. It has 1 million views. Why did I know it wasn't the right death rate when World Health Organization and CNBC was reporting that it was? Because it's an equation. The equation to figure out the death rate is how many people have COVID, how many people died. And you do a division, and then it's like, the amount of people who had it compared to the amount of people who died. But I said in March, why was that not the real death rate? It's really just third grade math. We don't even know how many people have it. So we're saying 100,000 people have COVID, but maybe 20 million people have it. So we know the people who died, but we don't know how many people had it. And then we do this equation. It was never that big of a death rate. It was obvious from the very beginning that it wasn't that way, but they fear-mongered, said this, said that, and now we're at the point where they're never going to give freedom back to us. And if we ever do get our freedom back, it looks like they want to treat the elderly like this for the rest of their lives. Like, now you've lost your freedom, your ability to communicate, your ability to gather and go to events and go out and, have a nursing home where you can hang out with each other because of COVID-19. That's just totally wiped out your freedom to do that. It's such a disgrace. And I just want to let the politicians and the health experts who are making these policies know, you're going to end up in hell. You're going to hell because how you're treating people is so evil that the devil would be jealous. That's how evil this is. It's disgusting what they're doing. And if you look at a lot, I'm going to show you, this is from the Washington Post. This is just 4 days ago. Argentina is known as the world's longest lockdown. They locked down forever. I don't know if they ever relinquished that. I don't know the exact amount of days, but the world's longest lockdown. This is Washington Post. They said, Argentina locked down early and hard. Now cases are exploding. So even though they had the world's longest lockdown, cases are exploding. And I even saw one person's graph who said over the last couple weeks, they're doing the worst in deaths. This is Peru. This is from the Telegraph. I've done a few videos on this. The country with the world's strictest lockdown, Peru, has the most deaths per capita. Besides San Marino, which is like a small, little area that they don't really count. Peru is doing the worst in the world with deaths per capita. Most people dying per the amount of people they have, and they've had the strictest lockdown. There is no data in countries that have masks on all the time. There is no data that it's eliminating the virus. There is no data that it's slowing the spread. I mean, you could look at the counties in the states where they have the most masks. I don't see the correlation. I don't see it in any country. I don't see it in any state. I don't see it in any city. I'm sure you could find a few, but there is no clear-cut data for doing this. And it should be obvious. I mean, just think of the basic. They try to scream science, and then they cover up real science. And before I get into this, I'm going to show you an event in the mainstream media that shows you how these people operate. The liberals, the fake science experts, the media, the tech companies, they all work together. The universities, they work together like one little devilish conglomerate of liars, and they lie in unison, and they convince you that it's science. So I'm going to use a non-scientific story, and then we could take that, and I'll show you how they do it with everything else. So the Hunter Biden story, Hunter Biden's laptop, he left his laptop as some sort of technician. He left it there too long. All sorts of pictures on it, all sorts of evidence. Everything that they claimed that Trump was doing and Trump Jr. was doing that they never did, that was the Hunter Biden story times 50. I mean, this is what Trump calls the laptop from hell. He's not lying. So big tech censors stuff. They start lying. They shut down anybody who posts it. They shut out the New York Post, one of the only mainstream media publications that leans right, Rupert Murdoch's New York Post. They lock it out, and then they do something really sick. They put out this fake Hunter Biden story that nobody's heard. Nobody's talking about this random side thing. And they're like, look, this is a debunked story of Hunter Biden. So millions upon tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people are talking about the real Hunter Biden story. So then they have some sort of fake Hunter Biden dossier that nobody's talking about. I don't know a single conservative who's talking about it to point at that and say, look, it's fake. Yeah, that's fake, but no one even knows what that is. It's like they made that to show you that it's fake, to convince everybody that what's real is what's fake. So they had a concerted effort by big tech censoring, by liberal media like NPR and CNN, barely if at all covering it. They're not talking about it. They're blocking it out. They're destroying the credibility of anybody who posts it, even in left-wing media. Someone called Glenn Greenwald, he's a gay Bernie supporter from Brazil. That's not the nicest introduction for him, but I'm just letting you know. It's like he checks all the boxes. He's gay. He's liberal. He's not right-wing. He hates Trump. But he had to quit his own publication, The Intercept, because they wouldn't let him publish a Hunter Biden story. His own news network or his own news company wouldn't even let him, who helped found the company, wouldn't even let him post it out. That's how insane these people are. So that's how easy it is for these people to just make the truth look like the false. They make a fake lie, they point to it, redirect everybody, and destroy the credibility and the reach and the social media of anybody who says it. So with that being said, the same thing is happening with COVID-19. Of course there's multiple scientists. Of course there's doctors. Of course there's nurses. Of course there's, countries like Sweden that didn't do a lockdown and a mask mandate, which is doing better than a lot of the lockdown countries. It all exists, but then they just scream science, and then shut everybody else out. Destroy them, censor them, cut their reach, cut their live streams, make it so only 50% of the people can see it, like my stuff. And then be like, look, see, this is all we have. It's not true. Lockdowns are not healthy. And this is the same theory with the masks. I know this might get me censored, but earlier this year, and this is just a fact, you can look up the video, they censor it every time I say it, but Dr. Fauci, who's been there for over 30 years, I believe, he was appointed by Ronald Reagan. You could do the math on how long he's been there. He said that masks, the cons outweigh the pros, basically, and they're overrated because you're fiddling with the mask. You put it up and down. Even in the height of the pandemic, he said, it's not a good idea to wear the mask. Okay, they changed their mind. They flip-flop. The Surgeon General flip-flops. Now everybody has to wear a mask. But they strip you of your common sense. They censor everybody who talks about it. They tell you that it's just the greatest idea, even though it's not. But how many people, I'm just going to do a guesstimate, out of people who wear masks all the time, you have waitresses, you have people on airplanes, how many people are wearing fresh masks the entire time? I would guess, this is not an official poll, but I would guess under 50% of people have clean masks. If you're wearing a cloth mask, do you wash it every day? Do you wash it between shifts? Do you wash it every hour? I would say 90% of people aren't constantly washing their masks. So you're wearing a dirty mask. If you wiped your hands with a napkin, would you then put that napkin on your face? I wouldn't. I think that's disgusting and unsanitary. But that's what a cloth is. You have a cloth mask, which is essentially a napkin or a towel that you've used, you're breathing in, it's moist, wet air, you're taking it off, you're putting it on, you're putting it down, you're putting your hand on it, they're putting it here, they're putting it, it's like putting a dirty napkin over your face. So I would think it's probably spreading more virus than it's saving. Is it stopping some droplets? Of course, but just like Dr. Fauci said earlier this year, with the fiddling with it, taking it on and off, putting your hands on your mouth, it kind of offsets, the cons and the pros kind of offset each other. That's what he said, and this is not a new thing for him. He's been at that position for 40 years. That's why when I say this stuff and Facebook tries to shut me down, this is not a new thing. He's not like new to the job and he's 20 years old and he's never heard of a virus before or a coronavirus. He's been there since the AIDS epidemic. He's been there studying infectious diseases for 30 years at a high level position. You think he doesn't know what a mask is or a cloth mask? Of course he does, and he knows the science. That's why he told you in January, it's overrated. And people are out here thinking that it's just the word of God. They think their heads are so far up their own ass that they see their own poop and they think it's like the word of God. They're like, this is settled science. Like, no, that's your own shit. Excuse my language. That's your own shit. From your head being so far up your own ass, you think it's Jesus Christ, but it's really just your own shit. This is how full of shit these people are. They are such liars. They shut down any holistic doctor who tells the truth. They shut down any politician who tells the truth. They'll even lock out Rupert Murdoch's New York Post and GOP's official government website if it goes against what they want you to say. They do this with climate change, they do this with COVID-19, and they do this with Hunter Biden's emails. Are Hunter Biden's emails real? Of course they're real, but they don't want to cover it. So they don't, and they act like it's this hallucination, because if it was Trump or Trump Jr. or Devin Nunes or any Republican, they'd be all over it. It'd be on every television station. But now, not only do they not talk about it, but they have to censor it. Is COVID-19 real? I'm sure, yeah, there's a virus. It's not good to have. However, is it all worth all of this stuff? The mask mandates, the lockdowns, the constant locking up your elderly, grandma for the next 5 years? No, it's not worth it. It's not. And anybody who tells that, they shut it down. But I use their own data. It's like, look at the data. Peru, world's strictest lockdown, one of the, if not the, world's worst results in death per capita. Argentina, longest lockdown, it's not getting rid of the virus because it's asinine. I mean, it's so simple. It's so simple. I feel like I'm living in a moron land with a bunch of idiots, which I am. But it's like, if millions of people are flying every day, if millions of people are rioting, and there's people at groups, and there's some people, like, you think it's going to move the needle because you have 100 people in a restaurant instead of 300, you have 500 people in an airplane, but you can't have 45 people at a Trump rally. Like, it doesn't make any sense unless you're going to completely isolate, but even then, it still doesn't stop. I mean, we isolated for 2 weeks, and it was some of the worst results we had. You can't hide from a virus, guys. You can't just hide in your house all day thinking, you're never going to get it. That's not how the world works. Amazon people are working, postal people are working, grocery stores are working, airlines are working, people are going to work. Now you're around 10 people instead of 20. You're not stopping the virus. You're not slowing the virus. In fact, by putting dirty cloths over your face, you're probably spreading it more. The most unhealthy I feel is when I have a dirty, damp, wet, moist cloth diaper on my face for 4 hours because these idiot morons on American Airlines and United Airlines think they're the Stalinist Nazi, mask enforcers of society. And it doesn't even make sense on the air. What's the logic that these people are following? They're not following any logic. It's literally like the stupidest thing ever. Okay, we're all going to wear a mask on the airplane. Makes sense to me. Nobody's going to spit. Nobody's going to move. Nobody's going to talk. Everybody's got a mask on for the whole time, right? Because that makes sense to me. Oh, no, not for the whole time? Yeah. Oh, look, I have a water. Now I can do whatever I want for 30 minutes because I'm drinking a water. It makes no sense. So hundreds of people with face diapers on, except for half of the airplane, they have them off because they're eating and talking and doing whatever they want when food's in front of their mouth. So they're not like blocking the entire flow of air. It's just not happening. It's like the stupidest thing. And if you think about it, when you take it off on an airplane, you're taking it off and you're putting it back on. Now your hands or whatever it touched is going back on your face. I would never put a dirty napkin on my face, but I have to put a dirty napkin on my face because they kick me out of the airplane if I don't put a disgusting dirty cloth on my face. And it's almost impossible not to get it dirty when you have to take it off on and off multiple times to eat, wear it for 5 seconds to go into a restaurant. This is the most asinine, stupid power grab in modern history that has no scientific backing, that's only making it worse. If anything, it's dead even. It's not slowing the spread. It's not stopping the spread. LA put out data recently. I have it from Bill Malugin, who's a local Fox host for LA. He's the best independent journalist, or I don't know if he's independent, but he's the best local journalist in Los Angeles. He said the data of hospitalizations from last year is higher than this year. There's not even more hospitalizations in Los Angeles. But what's their metric to stop this? They don't have a metric. These are control freak psychopaths who do the same thing with everything. Once you give them your tax money, you never get it back. Once you give them the right for them to tax you on some BS healthcare plan that won't help you and give you an individual mandate penalty, you never get it back. They take power, they take money, they take freedom, they take away your right to breathe, they take away your right to run your business, they take away your right to see your grandmother, they take away your right to live like a normal human when you're elderly, they take away everything, they take away your kid's school, they take away, humanity. They treat your kid like a prisoner dog slave for the next 5 years. They're just traumatizing the crap out of these kids and the elderly and the adults, spreading fear, spreading lies. For what? They're not slowing the spread. They're not stopping the spread. There is no hospitalization crisis in the United States. There never was. Maybe in New York for a week it was bad, but for 99% of the country, it was totally fine. In fact, the opposite happened. Thousands of people were laid off and furloughed because they don't have enough people or service to keep these hospitals afloat. And then they're incentivized to use ventilators. And then they're incentivized to have COVID-19 deaths because they need money one way or another. And I'm not saying they purposely did it, but this is how the system works. This whole year is a total joke. So I just want to say, before I move on, I'll answer some questions, is one, the whole thing is a joke, but this idea that people have, well, let's just quarantine the elderly. Like, we're going to go back to normal, hopefully, in the next 3 years, maybe not. But if we do, I feel like the elderly have completely lost their freedom forever. And we're all going to get old. I'm going to get old. You're going to get old. Some of you watching this might already be, 70, 80, or 90, just crushing it on the internet. And you don't lose your freedom just because you hit a certain age, just because the coronavirus has a higher death rate. Name a virus or a disease that doesn't have a higher death rate among the elderly. Pneumonia for a kid is fine. For an elderly, it could be your death sentence. That's just the way it works. But you shouldn't lose the last couple of years of your life or the last 20 years of your life. Maybe you're 50, maybe you're retiring, maybe you're my age and you're in the prime of your life at 30. Maybe you're a kid, maybe you're in college. No matter what part of your life you're in, life is short and every part is special. High school is special, kindergarten is special, college is special. The last 10 years of your life are special. Your 30s are special. Your 40s are special. When you get to retire in your 50s or 60s is special. If you get to retire in your 50s, every part of life is special. So it's not like, oh, you're selfish because you want to live. Everybody should live. Everybody should have the freedom to go back to normal. But they don't want to do this. And I know their plan because I'm reading their plan in this stupid book by this moron who runs the World Economic Forum, and they have all these grandiose plans of all these great things that they're going to do, but they don't work because these people are like pseudo-intellectual idiots. It's like, we're going to do this, this, and that. Like, clean up San Francisco. If you're so great, why is San Francisco a complete dump? Why is Los Angeles a dump? Because your ideas don't work, because you're trying to do really stupid things. It's like, you can't, it's like somebody who's trying to build an airplane that isn't an engineer, yet they can't even wipe their own butt. It's like, oh, I'm going to go to Mars. It's like, your butt is leaking. You can't even wipe your own butt. It's like, you can't farm. You can't do anything that actually, will keep people alive in times of need, like basic, human things that are important. But you have all these stupid ideas because you have $100 billion and you're surrounded by the world's biggest criminals and bankers, and they just tell you what a good idea it is because they're trying to make a play. It's such a joke. But, I could go on all day, and I will go on all day, and I'll continue to keep going on because I'm tired of living like a slave. And to, the people who are going to vote for lockdowns and mask mandates by voting Democrat, these people who are literally locking you down like slaves, in Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles, my friend who lives in downtown Los Angeles sent me his business thing. They're like, please lock up your business and board up your houses. We're not responsible if your stuff gets broken into. They're already bracing for their own psychotic constituents to destroy people's business. Why would you want to live in a liberal city? They allowed degenerates to just destroy your city. These are not right-wingers, guys. And then the FBI and all these phony intel communities, they tell people right-wing supremacists are the biggest threat to the world, to humanity. Even the people who were going for Gretchen Whitmer weren't even right-wing. They were like left-wingers who didn't like Trump. But in general, it's like, look, open your eyes. Like, who's committing all the crimes in Philadelphia? It's not white supremacists. Very few of them are white. Who's committing the crimes in Portland? It's not, honestly, it's mostly white people, but they're not right-wing. I'll give you a hint. They're left-wing anarcho-communists. And in Los Angeles, it's right-wingers who actually keep the businesses afloat and keep the, neighborhoods afloat. It's like, here, socialism, we'll take your money, we'll take your taxes, we'll take your business, we'll take all this stuff, we'll take your cars, we're not going to let you drive this, but it's socialism until it comes to the point, well, what about the firefighters and the police that you always talk about? The socialists, I say, well, everything's socialist. Police and firefighters, that's socialism, but do we have a right to those or no? It's like we get all the bad elements of it, and then when it comes time for somebody to protect your business, they're like, oh, we're not responsible. Now all of a sudden, they're libertarians. They're like, we're communists until it comes to abortion, like late-term abortion when the baby's being born. They're like, now we don't see anything. So you're a communist unless when it comes to murder or like protecting someone's neighborhood, then all of a sudden you're like the biggest libertarians on the planet. They're like Rand Paul. These people are such jokes. It's insane. But that's it for today. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America, and God bless the world. I'm going to read some comments and questions. And like I said, I'm going to have to, I don't want to do it, honestly, because I'm going to lose money. And also, it just sucks. It's a lose-lose for me and you. But I'm going to have to refund like 50 people. Whoever bought a white hat after October 17th, honestly, I think it was only one day of sales because after that day, they realized they were out. But it looks like these white hats, unfortunately, are going to be out till January. So I'm going to have to make these in black. I have the Black God is Great hats. I have some other shirts, but unfortunately, we did so well. I guess we like ran the company out of business or something, or they don't have white hats now till 2021. I'm going to rant real quick before I read your comments. This is another thing that ticks me off about COVID-19. It's like now this is an excuse for nobody to do their job. It's like they run out of my hats and they're like, oh, COVID-19. You go to you go to a hotel and they're like, sorry, we're not going to clean your room because of COVID-19. It's like every business is just using this as an excuse to do nothing. They're like, since COVID-19, there's a new virus, so it just makes me do absolutely nothing. We won't clean your room. We won't do this. We run out of stock. We don't have this. We don't have that. It's like, this virus is not that bad. Like, that's strictly your fault. Like, you just don't want to do your job properly, or you're not working hard enough, or you don't want to hire people. So now all of a sudden, like, every business just goes to shit because they're like, COVID-19, I guess we're out of hats till 2021. How hard is it to just go get more hats? And I understand it's not all about me, but like every hotel, they're like, sorry, COVID-19, we're not going to clean the room. It's how convenient for you. Imagine you could be a maid, but you don't actually have to clean because COVID, like in between days and stuff. It's such a joke. It's like everybody's just melting. It's like they're like a witch in the Wicked Wizard of Oz. It's like, I'm melting. You're fine. You don't even have COVID-19. You're probably never going to get it. And if you do, you'll probably be fine like everyone else. All right, let's see what y'all are talking about. Thanks for being here. Skylar said not voting for Trump. That's fine. It's a mistake, though, but it's okay. Everyone's allowed to make mistakes in America. Someone said they're out of mason jars also until next year. That's what I'm talking about. Just make the mason jars, Masons, okay? You have 3 jobs: stonemason, freemason, and mason jars. How hard is it? Make your stone houses with your stonemasonry. Run the world secretly with your Freemasonry. Make some mason jars for my man here. It's like, sorry, we don't know how to make mason jars anymore because COVID. It's like, it's not COVID, it's you. You're just not, like, do I do that? I've worked harder this year than I probably ever worked. Just like, sorry guys, COVID-19, I'm only going to do 1 video every 5 months. Sorry guys. I was going to work hard and, actually try to earn the money that you guys give me on Patreon. I'm going to try to work my butt off, but COVID-19, I'll just collect the money and I won't work until 2021. Sorry guys, I'm taking a 3-month vacation because of COVID-19. It's like, it's not the virus. It's just every company is just full of shit now. They're like, we can't find mason jar. It's like, just stop. So annoying. All right. Someone said apparently lettuce is gone too. Just plant the damn lettuce. Excuse my language. Just put it in the ground, okay? I've lived on a farm, okay? I've worked on a farm. It's not like, oh, COVID-19 took out the lettuce. Guys, there's no more lettuce. All the lettuce got COVID-19. You pick up lettuce, your lettuce is just coughing. You're like, dude, my lettuce got COVID-19. Sorry. No, it's the farmer. Whoever runs a farm just doesn't want to plant the damn lettuce. Or Monsanto just destroyed the whole lettuce crop or something. I don't know. Don't get me started. I'm trying to just calm down. Just pissing me off. Sorry. Perry said, I work at a hotel. We don't do stayover service to save some money. We lost due to less people. Yeah, no, I understand that. I think also, I think some hotels are doing it just because they're like afraid of, it's like a new rule. They're like, wear your mask for 5 seconds before you sit down. I understand your hotel's doing that, but I think some aren't doing it because they have less workers. I think they just don't want to go in your room with the virus or something. I don't know. But maybe you're right. Maybe I'm a jerk. I don't know. Someone said, what do you think about the cruise industry? You could fly but not sail. I said I wanted to calm down, and you hit my heart. I love cruises. I was like a Royal Caribbean fanatic. I was going on all the cruises because I went on one cruise and I played in the slot machine and they gave me like 2 free cruises. I brought my brother on a cruise. I brought my friend. I went on 4 cruises or 3 cruises for the price of 1 cruise. I paid for 1. I got 3. I don't know why, because I go to the casino a lot, but still, it was worth it. I was just getting free cruise. And then they shut down the cruise lines. This is BS. And when they open up the cruise lines next year, they're going to ruin it. Everyone's going to wear a mask. Everything's got to be like this. It's such bullshit. And every cruise I went on, there's always elderly people almost dying. I'm sorry, it's just true. Like twice on a cruise, they flew someone in on a helicopter, flew them out. We had to rush back to Bayonne, New Jersey. I was going, from coast to coast. We had to rush back because the average age on a cruise is like 85. So you get enough 85-year-olds on a cruise boat, someone's going to get hurt. That's just how it happens. Now it's going to be like, well, COVID-19 took out the elderly. It's like elderly people are dying all the time. It's not good, but it's like, that's just what happens when the average age is that high. I'm sorry. It's like Coachella, You have 30,000, people doing drugs in one area, and like 3 of them die. I don't want them to die, but that's what happens when a bunch of drug addicts come together and dance to EDM music. Sometimes people die. It's not good, but it's like all of society doesn't have to shut down because of it. So, yeah, don't get me started with the cruise industry. I love cruises. They ruined cruises. They stole cruises when I was going to cruise my ass off for the next 5 years because I'm like a gold platinum member of Royal Caribbean. They gave me like 3 cruises. I was about to take my brother on another cruise, one of the bigger boats. I love cruises. I love the shows. I love the food. I love sailing. I don't like when the boat rocks, but that's just what you got to deal with. It's like turbulence. I love the Bahamas. I love Florida. I love my Alaska cruise. I was Mr. Royal Caribbean. I was about to cruise 5 times a year because I have a flexible schedule and they're just giving me free cruises. It's like, I'll go. I could literally work from the cruise boat. It's like, I'm not, I worked hard, so I take a cruise vacation. They ruined the cruise line. I will never forgive these demons for taking out the cruise line. One of the greatest things in human history, cruises, destroyed, not by COVID-19. Don't let them convince you that COVID-19 did this. It was them, not COVID-19, the response to COVID-19, not the virus, the government overreach and the just psychotic liberal shutdown over the virus. Bring back cruises. Bring them back, or I'll consider it an act of war. I'm just saying. Someone said they're destroying cruise boats. It's disgusting. I love cruises. They've ruined it. Royal Caribbean should be, front line of the revolution. I don't know what they're doing. They should hire me for social media. I'd be talking so much shit on their Twitter. Never been on one, but I always wanted to. It's so fun. I love it. And it's not that expensive. You could get a 7-8 day cruise for like $700. You're talking $100, $200 a night. Free food, free shows every night. You know what I'm saying? You got great food. You got buffets. They're taking you here. They're taking you there. Cruises are like the greatest thing ever. Anybody who says cruises aren't fun is just a liar. Or they're not built for this stuff. Some people are like, oh, I don't watch basketball. It's like, well, I don't go on cruises. It's like, well, I do. And I wanted to go on 20 cruises. I wanted to break a world record just going on a cruise every other week, like one of those like weirdo guys that just like lives on the cruise boat. That was gonna be me by the time I was 40 if they didn't ruin the industry. Bring cruise, yeah, make cruises great again. We need to do that. Make cruises great again, hat. Maybe I'll start just sounding the alarm, making shirts for cruises. I love cruises. All right, let's calm down. Someone said got robbed in the Bahamas, but it was the best $20 I ever spent. Well, yeah, you gotta stay in the touristy areas. You gotta watch. That's one thing I will say about the islands. I'm an Americana guy. You know, I just keep getting more America first. But yeah, I liked Alaska because it was America. When you go to the islands, no disrespect, there's a lot of great people there. But like, I mean, St. John and St. Martin, like, you know, these islands, it's like nice hotel, beautiful beach. And then the rest of the island just went to shit. Like, it just did. You know, like everything's broken, everything's destroyed. So they're dropping me off like in front of like 5 dudes. They're like, here, just drop off here. They're looking at me like it's a payday. I'm like, you know, you see me just walking real fast. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I see what's going on here. I'm not like one of these like 50-year-old guys who just has flip-flops on. He thinks he's at the Ritz-Carlton or something. He's like, I own this island. It's like, no, everybody here wants to kill you. It's like, just stay on the beach, stay in the tourist areas. Don't go wandering around these islands, because 95% of the island's looking at you like, do you got a laptop or what? Like, I could tell, but like some people are just flopping around in their flip-flops like, Charles, where's this lobster? And I'm like, guys, if you act like this, you're going to get robbed. But I'm not saying it's right, but I noticed that on some of the islands. I was like, I don't want to be here that long, because I feel like, you know, there's a lot of destruction going on, and I stick out like a sore thumb. You know, I got short shorts and some, you know, with palm trees on them. You could tell I'm on vacation mode. Someone said Vancouver, BC is beautiful. I was in Vancouver for a day when I went to Alaska. Alaska is one of the greatest places ever. I love Alaska. That's why I have the Alaska mug. Actually, I'm studying so hard for Alaska. I even have on, you can't even see, I have on an Alaska shirt. Let me see. It says Alaska somewhere. Where is it? See, Alaska, Alaska. I'm like all Alaska'd out. I went there on one cruise. I'm like the biggest Alaska fan. I would move there if you guys didn't have such bad winters, but also it's just far away from my family and stuff, so. But Alaska crushes. Coco Cay was gorgeous. Don't bring up Coco Cay, because that's where I was supposed to go. That was my next cruise, was perfect day at Coco Cay. They sold me a dream. You had the big slide. You had the hanger thing. I don't know what it's called, the zip line. I was supposed to go to Coco Cay in September, and then they said it was okay, and then these demons, inspired by Dr. Demon Fauci, said, let's just throw 2020 down the tube, and let's just go to 2021. You ruined my perfect day at Coco Cay. So I've never been. I was supposed to go in September. They canceled my cruise. Do you want another one for when? 2030? When are you going to open? You guys don't even know. You guys are softies. You're like, oh, we'll just destroy our whole industry for Dr. Fauci. You should be the first ones protesting. Everybody who works for Royal Caribbean should be with pitchforks. Tom said I'm in Juneau. I don't know how to say that exactly, but Juneau is awesome. Icy Strait Point was awesome. Alaska in general, that was like the best cruise I ever went on. And they're all good, but Alaska's gorgeous. I was loving Alaska. I went on a zip line. I took a helicopter ride in Juneau, and I went on some sort of ice boat. I took a helicopter ride to a glacier. Never doing that again. That was absolutely frightening. I don't like flying at all. I hate planes. I hate helicopters, but I had to try it. Never doing that again, but Juneau's awesome. Sherry said, I know a great travel agent if you need one. I'm not that rich. I don't need a travel agent. I just go to Expedia. You know, it's like, I'm not rich enough to have a travel agent. I just go to the Royal Caribbean website and I hit book cruise. Like, I don't need to pay someone to do that. Maybe eventually, but it's like Expedia, click. That's my travel agent. It's not that hard. Brian said we got our trip to Italy canceled. Yeah, my friend was supposed to go to Italy, my Italian buddy. He was supposed to go in July, and he had his trip canceled. And, man, Europe might never let us back. I mean, they're even stricter than we are, so they might not even let us back next year. It's such a joke, man. They're just ruining planet Earth. I don't want to run for politics. I never will, probably. But it's like, if these people keep sucking so bad, you know. Trump was like, you guys suck. I'm going to run. He's the last chance to, like, break out of this. So hopefully he crushes. All right. Connie said I would probably be freaking out about the Cascadia the whole time on the cruise to Alaska. See, I don't even know what the Cascadia is, so I wasn't afraid of it because I don't even know what it is. Is that something I should have been scared of? But no, the Alaska cruise was phenomenal. Good time. And it was in summer, so it was hot. I'm actually, after I get off this, I'm calling Royal Caribbean. I'm calling them right now and being like, what's up for 2020? I'm gonna be like, listen, I'm a gold member, whatever I am, platinum, maybe I'm neither. Get your cruise boats in order. Cut the mask bullshit. Stop. Don't ruin the whole boat with the, oh, there's gonna be plastic dividers, and it's like, then what's the point of even going on a cruise? I'm not trying to go to prison. It's like, come to prison and you can have, you know, plastic dividers and masks. It's like, or I could just not go on your cruise then, because I'm not going on a cruise to wear a mask. So they're like, oh no, we'll have temperature checks outside every place. It's like, then just cave. Then just go bankrupt, okay? I hope you go bankrupt, Royal Caribbean, if that's what you want to do. Oh no, we have a mask policy, you got to wear a mask. Yeah, then you know what? It's over. It's over for you. You had a good run in humanity. Game over. Cruise line bankrupted by Dr. Fauci over a coronavirus. What a joke this place is. I'm so tired of these people. I'm voting Trump so hard, it's insane. I'm going to vote Trump so hard, my wrist might snap. Just like jam the pen into Trump. I'm going to rip a hole in my thing. I have to get a new one. Renee, I like this, Renee. Renee said, we have to build our own cruise ship better, like a battleship. Renee, now you're talking my language. If anybody knows how to build a cruise boat, let me know, because I would love to do that. Maybe we'll leave out of Florida and just go to like the islands or something. But if we got to build our own cruise boat, we'll build our own cruise boat. Because I'm not wearing a mask on a cruise. Are you kidding me? I'm not a freaking in a hospital. This is so stupid. I can't even think about this stuff. Someone said, try celebrity cruises. I can't do any cruise because they ruin the cruise line industry. The whole industry is destroyed. There's no, like what? Disney cruises are probably ruined. We need a revolution. We need a cruise revolution, okay? Whew. See what else we got going on. Tina said, I'm glad you went to his rally. I'm gonna edit the video of it probably tonight. Sorry, I flew and I'm just exhausted, but it was like one of the greatest things I've ever done in my life. I know that sounds like an overstatement, but I was just blown away. First of all, you know, everybody was recognizing me there. I got stopped like 50 times, which is cool, taking some pictures. But Trump's just like the ultimate rock star. He flies in on a plane, he lands right in front of me. Then I'm watching the thing. I'm in the back with the Latinos for Trump, so I'm right behind him. You know, he's killing it. He's just like right in front of me. Everybody's having a blast. Great time. Jared Kushner shows up. He's like right next to me. And then I got Nigel Farage, and Rand Paul did a speech. I love Nigel Farage. His speech almost made me cry. It was fantastic. And then Rand Paul is like, I always say he's like my favorite Republican besides Trump. He showed up randomly and did a speech. It was like the greatest day ever. I was like, this is phenomenal. Just so much good energy. A week before the election, one of the biggest elections in the world, I got to see President Trump, who Nigel Farage said is the last leader of the free world. There's nobody else even in Europe. It's like Trump versus everybody. Bring it on. I'm ready to vote so hard my wrist is going to snap. Trump, Republican, 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 Republican. Yes on Prop 20. Yes on Prop 22. No on all your other bullshit props. That's what we're doing. If you're in California, that's my conclusion. You could look up your own. No on 15, no on 16, no on 17, no on 18, no on 19, yes on 20, no on 21, yes on 22, and then no to all your other bullshit. Trump. Sorry. How do people not, like some people, like I know friends and stuff that don't like Trump and music, and it's like, guys, don't you want to go back on tour? You know, like I'm going to start pitching to my friends. Don't you want to go back on tour? Or do you want to live in Joe Biden America where you have to live like a slave for the next 5 years? Why wouldn't you vote for Trump? I don't get it. Even I had this one dude that I met at some rap thing, and I know he gangbangs a little bit. He commented on my Trump thing. He commented a fire thing. So he's like, you know, we got gang activity for Trump, Lil Wayne for Trump, you know, Lil Pump for Trump, Brett Favre for Trump, Jack Nicholson for Trump, Anomaly for Trump, 50 Cent for Trump until Chelsea Handler tells him to shut up and he shuts up for Trump. I mean, I don't know what's going on, but why would you ever not? Who wants Joe Biden? Who wants to live like a slave? Like Trump, if Trump could actually control California, we wouldn't be wearing masks tomorrow. It's like, why would you want to wear a mask? Do people not see that Trump's out here? He's like the biggest protest in the country. If Trump wasn't there, and this, you heard how pissed I was at Trump earlier this year because he was buying into all this Dr. Fauci bullshit, and I called him out the whole time. I was annoyed at Trump all year. I felt like he did a mediocre job. However, now you're not allowed to gather in groups. And Trump is going across the country gathering in groups. He's the biggest show in town. It's like rock stars are afraid to do shows in Arizona, and the president of the United States is doing shows in Arizona. He's like the front line of our protest. It's like, this is unbelievable. Like, this should be like the protest against the government. In England, they have nobody. In Canada, they have nobody. In America, one of the greatest leaders in the resistance against these piece of shit people, excuse my language, but they're piece of shit people, the biggest resistance is Trump. We have him in the White House. This is a godsend. Vote Trump, okay? Or don't, but it's just like, why would you not? Like, well, Jo Jorgensen has good points. Jo Jorgensen sucks, okay? Her politics suck. Libertarianism is a good idea, but for some reason, the Libertarian Party just picks the stupidest candidates. I'm not impressed with her, and she's never going to win. She doesn't understand the culture. Is she going to save America? No. Trump's out here inspiring tens of millions of people into, supporting the country and not relinquishing it to socialism. Jo Jorgensen is just stealing 2% of the vote. She's a joke. But don't get me started with her. It's like the Cruz thing. I'll rant about it all day. Sorry, Joe, but you suck. See. Hold on, I always have to sneeze. Hold on, let me put my mask on so I could sneeze into my mask and spray it all over my face. Who wants to, the mask is there just in case you're droplets or you sneeze. Who wants to sneeze into a mask? It's like sneezing in a, like, would you ever be like, achoo, and then just put the towel on your face and you sneeze into my face now? It's like, why? That's disgusting. Like, why would you sneeze in a mask and then just jam the sneeze into your face? This is so stupid. Like, people look like, sorry if there's kids watching, time to sign off, but people remind me of like submissive, like sex slaves to like a dominatrix. Like, you ever see those dog masks? Like, that's what people look like to me. Like, if you're into that, you're into that. I'm not going to knock what you do, behind closed doors, but I'm just saying, like, everybody thinks they're like, oh, this is science. Like, yeah, it's the science of you're a submissive slave and your dominatrix is Daddy Fauci. Okay, that's it. I'm sorry for breathing. Like, people just look so freaking pathetic to me. It's like, you're a grown man outdoors and you're wearing like a sex slave mask. It's like, if you're into that, let it be known. But if you think that you're like combating coronavirus, you just look like an idiot. Excuse me. Shannon said that's the weirdest thing, sneezing into the mask. It's the stupidest thing ever. Why would you sneeze in a mask and jam it in your face? It's disgusting. What's up, Judy? Judy Grissom said, we love Judy here. I recognize her name. She's been around for a minute. She said, the kind of full moon tomorrow hasn't been seen in 76 years. Thank you, Judy, for the reminder. Everybody check out the moon tomorrow. I didn't know that, but I will check it out. Very cool. Greg said, I look like a stick-up kid when I wear a mask. I mean, depends what kind of mask you have. I mean, I was thinking the other day, like, someone came in with like a red bandana. I thought it was like some gang activity, but it was just like a guy getting his pizza or something. It's just like, I just wear bandanas now. I forgot for a second that that's how things were operating. Whew. Nate Monahan said, I'm being Trump for Halloween tomorrow, and I live in a Democrat town. Wish me luck. Good luck. I mean, I was thinking that actually today. It's funny you said that, because I don't have a costume, but I have a bunch of like, hats I got from the Trump rally. They just gave them to me. It's like, could you be that for like, hey, I'm a Trump supporter for Halloween. It's a costume. Like, but is it? Never mind. Someone said, Daddy Fauci. I'm laughing my head off. Someone said the CDC is now lumping together. The CDC is a joke. I mean, this CDC sucks. I'm sorry. Do I have to do that? Do I have to pretend like the CDC is fantastic and they're just so good at what they do? The CDC sucks. Dr. Fauci sucks. Them destroying the cruise lines suck. Their insight sucks. Their accuracy sucks. That's it. I don't know. I'm kind of out of it. And Jo Jorgensen sucks, but I'm just throwing her in with them. I don't know why. I just don't like her. Someone said, keep calm, you should be good. How much money would you put on Trump to win? I'm not betting on the election. I have a friend that like has a way for me to bet, but I don't know. It's like I didn't, and it's weird because I do like to bet sometimes, but I didn't put any money on the election. But I don't know. I think Trump's going to win. For some reason, I just don't feel like betting on it, because to me, it's like I bet sometimes on like games and stuff when I'm bored, because I don't like to watch sports that much. But like if you have money on a game, it's interesting. To me, I want Trump to win so bad, it doesn't matter how much money I put on it. It doesn't make it more interesting to me. Like, it's going to be like Christmas morning if he wins and just landslides and just red wave and they're, oh my God, our stats were wrong. It's like, you guys suck at your job. Your polls suck. They have like Trump losing Wisconsin by like 17 points. Clearly, he's not going to lose Wisconsin by 7. He's either going to win Wisconsin or barely lose by like 2 points. Like, these people are idiots. They're like, how did our polls wrong? You're a dumbass. Excuse my language. You're a dumbass. If you think Trump's going to lose Wisconsin by 17 points, where are you getting these numbers from? Like these, oh, we asked my friend, and yeah, your friends suck too. Never mind. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to bet on the election because it's just so exciting anyway. Like if Trump wins, I feel like I won $1 million. You know, probably over time, I probably did win $1 million over the next 20 years of my life. If someone like Joe Biden wins, I'm sure he'll steal $1 million from me in taxes by the time I'm 50 and like just completely like suck out any generational wealth that I could pass on to my family. So, you know, Trump winning is a win for my wallet too. I don't even have that much money yet. I'm just thinking like over the next 5 years, it's like, can I have 60% of your taxes? It's like, how about you go F yourself? Excuse my language, but you know what I mean. Just F off. Someone said, Joe supports the Green New Deal, so does the American Communist Party. I haven't seen Joe talk about the Green New Deal, but she sucks. I'm sorry. Like, I like libertarianism. If someone's like Rand Paul or Ron Paul, it's like, yeah, no government. But Jo Jorgensen is a joke. She doesn't understand Black Lives Matter. She doesn't understand environmentalism. She doesn't understand any of the cultural psyops that are going on for real things that are, you know, misled by the media. She's like, well, Trump got accused by the media 5 times. So what do you not believe in a fair trial now, Jo Jorgensen? Because you saw a headline of Trump and women. She's such a joke. She sucks. I would rather, this is my vote. It's going to Trump. If I voted for Jo Jorgensen, I'd vote Jo Jorgensen and I'd throw it in the trash, because that's what it is. It's throwing your vote in the trash. And I always say throwing your vote in the trash can is a better idea than voting for Jo Jorgensen, because your trash can actually serves a purpose. You know, without a trash can, your whole house would smell. You'd have nowhere to put your trash. You know, a trash can is a great thing. Say what you want about trash can. That's why they say treat, you know, the trash worker with the same respect that you treat anyone else, because that's a real job. Like that's actually my family. I just found out my Italian family, the reason they had wealth is because my great-grandfather started a trash business. He collected people's trash. So, you know, I have nothing but respect for the trash industry, trash cans, trash workers, anybody who works in the trash industry like my family did. But Jo Jorgensen, it's like, she doesn't have value. Like a trash can has value. Jo Jorgensen, it's like throwing your vote away. It's like, I'm going to end the wars. You're not going to do shit because you're never going to win. But even if you won, you still wouldn't do shit because you don't even understand what's going on. It's like Black Lives Matter is a really important movement. Then you're not a libertarian because you don't even understand who's operating it and what their politics are. So Jo Jorgensen, might as well throw your vote in the trash can. Vote for Joe is a vote for the trash can. But a vote for the trash can makes more sense because trash cans have value and purpose. And that rant was in no way sexist, okay? Has nothing to do with her being a woman. I did make a funny joke earlier on Twitter, though. My Twitter's been pretty funny. I don't know why. I'm just making fun of stuff now. But I made a joke about women, and like I think a few Trump-supporting women got kind of pissed at me. I'll read it here. I'll just turn it. Is this funny or is this sexist, guys? Let me know, because I thought it was funny, but apparently some Trump women did not like it. Here, I said, if Trump loses the suburban woman vote, we need to unplug the TVs in the kitchen. You feel what I'm saying? It just means too many women are watching TV. I thought it was funny to say, I don't know. But someone was like, oh my God, we don't all watch TV. We don't all work in the kitchen. I was like, I get that. But it was just a joke. But anyway. Is this thing on? Is this mic on or no? Okay. Maybe We'll get back to the drawing board. We'll write better jokes. I'm still funnier than Trevor Noah. Even when it's not funny, it's still on the Richter scale of funny, it's still like 3 points funnier than anything Trevor Noah's ever said. So I still have that going for me. Jerry said they're messing with the feed. Oh no, they've destroyed my page. But it doesn't matter because every time they try, I just do bigger things. Like they mess my Facebook reach and then I get 200,000 views on Instagram. Now I'm an Instagram star. I don't even want to be an Instagram star. You know, now I'm getting, how many shares does my Lil Wayne thing get? It's got 7,000 retweets. Now I'm just getting bigger on Twitter. It's like David and Goliath. Like you take this, I'm going to multiply by 50. Okay, so they've ruined part of my Facebook page, but it doesn't matter because then I just make everything else bigger. And then eventually repeal 230 and then they all go bankrupt. And then we'll see what happens then. Cindy said, I'm a suburban woman. I think it's funny. Thank you, Cindy. Kelly said people are too sensitive. Well, I also said this too. I think this one's even better. I said, I said last year jokes were offensive. Last year jokes were offensive. This year breathing air without a dirty cloth diaper on your face is offensive. So it's like last year everybody's afraid of jokes. Now people are offended that you want to breathe the air. So I don't care anymore. I'm gonna make jokes about everything because I can't even breathe air now. The way you're breathing the air hurts my feelings. It's hurting my grandma. Like, no, you're hurting your grandma because you're locking her in her nursing home like a slave. Your grandma's like, let me out. Let me hang out with my friends. You're like, no, Grandma, it's the best way to live the last 5 years of your life if you just live like a slave in here. Trust me, I know I'm voting for Biden. It's like, you're killing your grandma, you demon. Let your grandma out. This is what your grandma could look like. And this is from the Trump rally. I'm going to show you in a video tomorrow if I ever get it done. I keep getting busy, but this is what your grandma could look like. All right, let me find the video. Oh, here it is. I took this at the Trump rally. Oh. All right, I don't want this song to play because then I'm gonna like lose my. Ready? This woman at the Trump rally. This could be your grandma if you weren't such a demon. Ready? Watch. Look at her. Look at her dancing. Dancing. Woo! Let's go. Let's go. You see what I'm saying? That's what your grandma could look like, but you're too busy locking her up like a slave. So you're killing your grandma. But anyway, let me see. See, I'm going to show you this too. I'm getting pretty funny on Twitter. I think so. I said, look at that. I said, I thought we already got al-Baghdadi. Just kidding. It's a joke. Please don't delete my account. Get it? He looks like a terrorist. But also, I have to say I'm just kidding because I don't want him to kill me. So, see what I'm saying? I'm getting pretty funny. I think so. But one more funny clip. This is Kamala Harris. It's insane how not likable she is. It's insane. Look at this. This lady's nuts. Look. We got from a Jewish deplorable. Nice. Look at that. We got intersectional making fun of Kamala Harris here.
Texas, Bernice, it is so good to see you. I want to first. How's everybody doing? It's so good to see you, Texas, Bernice. It is.
How is it even possible to be that fake? Like, it's like lab created fakeness. Like the fakest person I know. Like, hey, what's up, bro? I'm trying to be an actor. You know, and you're like they're not even that fake. Like she's the worst. I don't even know how you find these people. Like, never mind. I don't like. It's bizarre. I've met some pretty shitty people in my life, but she's perhaps like the fakest person I've ever seen. Like, it's so cringy. No one believes it, but maybe people want her to be president or something. I don't know. I don't. Okay. Oh no, my gay liberal doppelganger. Everybody always thinks I look like this guy from Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I don't. But it's like the gay liberal dumb version of me. But look, he's trending on Twitter. It says, Queer Eyes, Jonathan Van Ness, Texan absentee ballot never came. That's me if I just sold my soul to the devil. I'm like, hey, I'm going to vote for Elizabeth Warren. Hey. thank God. Everybody's like, they think it's me on the billboard. They're like, dude, what are you doing on here? And I'm like, that's not me. It's like he wears dresses and stuff. I mean, no disrespect to the dresses. If he could just be like, you know, if he could join Gays for Trump with my friend Gay Who Strayed, Brokeback Patriot, you know, there's some patriotic gays out there, just not that guy. So, you know, he's got to get his stuff straight, but to each their own. You know, that's me in an alternate universe. It's like life is a series of decisions. You know, you could go different ways. I could have went, I mean, I lived in Hollywood and Los Angeles for too long. I could have went that way, and I could have just been a full-blown Elizabeth Warren supporter. Thank God. All right, well. Decisions, folks. That's what life's made of. Barbara said you do look like a anomaly. No, I know. And there's this weird guy from like this weird McDonald's viral video, and he looks just like me too. And like everyone's like anomaly, like everyone's making fun of me, and it's hilarious. But let me try to find this. Like, there's some guy that looks like me in some weird McDonald's video. I've never even seen the video. I've just seen people like share it. Let me see if I can find him. Nah, I'm not gonna be able to find it, but whatever. Thank you guys. Yeah, I think I'm funny too. Let me see. Jean said, how would you feel getting the position because you're a black female? Sounds like a sexist choice, not based on skill. Well, that's the cringy part of like the liberal black alliance. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, I don't know if I could play it because I curse in it. I've cursed a bunch. I have a song with my friend Patriot J, and I say something about like, you're the type of person to post a picture with your black friend just to say that you did it. You know, like when I see my black friend, I'm like, hey, what's up? And then we just talk. When they see someone, they're like, oh my God. They take a picture like, oh my God, it's me and my black friend. Like, oh my God, Terry Crews, guys. Oh my God. The award show's so diverse this year. Whoa, look at all the black people here. I'm so sorry for my white privilege. Oh, man, it's like 90% of the awards went to black directors. But am I right? Should we not have some black female directors up here? Come on, what is this, a KKK rally? I mean, every award should go to a black, like, they act like that, and nobody thinks that's authentic. Like, I don't know who that resonates with. Like, with me, I don't pander, but like I notice sometimes I got people in Africa with like super African names. They're like, Anomaly, I support you. I made fun of one of these liberals recently, and I was like, they were talking about how bad America was, and I was like, why don't you go to Africa then? If you like, they're like, white people are everywhere in powerful positions. Like, it's America. So if you go to Africa, you won't have that problem. And someone was in the comments, and they were like, Anomaly, we don't want them either. And I looked, it was like an African, and then I apologized. I said, I apologize to my African brothers and sisters because I don't want to send these disgusting liberals to your continent either. I realize now they don't even want these disgusting people, but I knew they didn't. I just thought it was funny because it's like me going to like Nigeria and I'm like, there's too many black men in power here. It's like, it's Nigeria. So if you want to go somewhere where it's not like that, you go to like Switzerland or, you know, Sweden or something, and then you can get what you're looking for. But it's like, I think it was Elizabeth Banks. Let me see. Which sucks because she's cute, and I think she's on the new Deal or No Deal. But here, let me see if I'll find my tweet. I'm tired of these celebrities. I'm just talking shit to all of them. Whereas she's like, there's so many white men. We need to get rid of the white. I'm like, do you hate your father? You're like the whitest person I know. It's like, what did your dad do to you? Look at it. So Elizabeth Banks. She's like, there's too many white people in power. Elizabeth, you look like Chelsea Handler if she wasn't dropped in her head and doing cocaine all the time. It's like, you're white. Your father's white. Your grandfather's white. Why do you hate your parents? You're like, there's too many white men in power. Like your father and your grandfather. Like, just stop. All right, let's calm down. I'm so glad I fly under the radar because if like this is what people don't understand. Like everyone's like, Anomaly, you should do this and this. Like everywhere I go, people recognize me, which is fine. Like I go on hikes in the middle of nowhere and people will recognize me like in the middle of nowhere. So I don't need to be any more famous. But like when you're actually famous and they care what you say, everything's a headline. Like imagine if they actually cared what I said, every day would be a headline. They'd be like, Anomaly said, you know, Chelsea Handler was dropped on her head. Anomaly said she's a crackhead. Anomaly said, you know, Elizabeth Banks' father's white. Like this is why you don't want to be famous. Because like I'm at the perfect place right now where people recognize me, but they also leave me alone. Like why would you want everything you say? Like every every honest statement or funny joke you say would be like a controversial statement. Like Kanye just like says one thing and they're like, oh my God, he said that, you know, slavery was a choice. He said that Harriet Tubman was overrated. It's like, to be honest, so was Helen Keller. She was a Bolshevik. I don't care that she couldn't see or hear. Helen Keller was a communist, and I don't like her. But, you know, respect for doing things with her commie teacher or whatever. But you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't want, it's like, Kanye West is like, you know, I just think common sense and building Christian schools is a good idea. They're like, oh my God, Kanye West is a supremacist. It's like, the press are just such evil people. I don't know how Trump and Kanye deals with these people. I'm lucky they leave me alone. One guy said he was going to write an article about me. His name is Will Sommer. Much respect to this guy because he hates right-wingers. He emailed me and he was like, Anomaly, I'm doing an article on Trump rappers. And I'm like, Trump rappers? I'm not a Trump rapper. I'm just a rapper who has a song called I Like Trump. But my whole life is not like Trump rapping. But, you know, I do shows and I don't even mention it. But anyway, I was like, what other Trump rappers are you going to write about? And he's like, oh, just you. And I look at all his other things. It's like Proud Boys, Gavin McGinn. It's like all just like anti-right-wing stuff. And I'm like, with all due respect, my man, I'm like, clearly you don't like right-wing people. You don't like anybody who supports president. You're probably going to write something terrible about me. So I'd appreciate it if you just leave me alone. I said something like that to him, and he actually left me alone. I was surprised because he hates everybody, but he didn't write about me. And I respect that because I was like, bro, just leave me alone because I'm not the one to mess with. But also, like, what are you going to do to me? Like, oh, Anomaly made a song about Trump, so he must be. It's like, just leave me alone, bro. And he left me alone. And hopefully the rest of my life continues that way. Because if they don't leave me alone, I'm going to have to go Super Saiyan and just spray out some truth beams. Someone said Harriet Tubman was a Republican. I don't know. I don't even believe that much about, no disrespect, but like, look at how much they lie today. Trump is like the greatest story of the modern era, and they're going to say Trump was literally Hitler. Trump was Hitler. It's like, no, but whatever. So if that's how they're talking now, I have books from World War II. I've been reading books. I've been reading books from people to get the actual mindset as opposed to what other people say. But the point I'm getting to is like anything past 200 years, like I don't believe a damn thing I hear about Harriet Tubman. No disrespect, but just the fact that she got to the history books means she was probably somewhat sneaky. It's like Anomaly says Harriet Tubman was sneaky. I'm not saying she's sneaky. I'm just saying in order to get published in like American history books, you probably were some sort of agent or something. Like Rosa Parks was not even the original person. They had a different black woman who was younger and, you know, had a baby or something. It wasn't optical, didn't have good optics. So they replaced her with with Rosa Parks, and they made the whole story about Rosa Parks. That's not even the real story. So like you learn about Rosa Parks, but the real woman was actually a pregnant black woman who wasn't Rosa Parks. You learn about Helen Keller was so great. No, she was a blind, deaf communist. I mean, you know, it's not her fault she couldn't see that communism was a bad idea. It's not her fault that she couldn't hear that communism was a bad idea. But I learned about how great Helen Keller was, but she supported the Bolshevik Revolution, which killed millions of people. So, you know, it's not her fault she can't see or hear. But at the same time, I'm not impressed. Like, that's, you know, the Braille thing was cool. But overall, she was a communist. You learn about W.E.B. Du Bois. He was a communist. I'm not impressed. I don't know. I don't believe any of this stuff from history anymore because the more I'm relearning it, I'm like, oh, all these people were just totally phony. But at least Helen Keller had a good story, but it's like, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm going to start a Helen Keller hate club. No, I'm just kidding. Someone said Ida B. Wells was the OG Rosa Parks. That's what I'm talking about. So if they did that with Rosa Parks, what did they do with Harriet Tubman? She's probably just like a cashier or something. And they're like, I used to think she had an actual like underground railroad. I didn't realize that till I was 20 because I didn't pay attention in school that much. I'm like, oh, she didn't actually run a railroad? That's my fault. But I don't even believe the original story. Sorry. So when they're like, Kanye said that Harriet Tubman did, it's like, why do you care so much about a story from 300 years ago that you can't even confirm is even remotely true? Like I don't know. They're like, they said Abe Lincoln didn't do this. I'm like, I could care less. I like Abe Lincoln, but like, I don't know. Ron Paul says that he didn't really care about slavery. I like Ron Paul. I'll take his word for it, but I don't know. I don't have that much attachment to these people. Someone said recently that, Tucker Carlson's better than Benjamin Franklin. Here's my man Patrick Howley. He said Tucker Carlson better than Ben Franklin. I think so. I think Ben Franklin was just having sex too much. He had like syphilis or something. So, no disrespect to Ben Franklin. He had some good moments, but, Tucker Carlson probably doesn't have syphilis. Ben Franklin had syphilis, so Tucker Carlson, might have the upper hand. He does better journalism too. But I don't know. I'm not that attached to these historical figures. Greg said this live's definitely getting taken down by the overlords. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter anymore because they just wait. It's like now that they've taken, it's actually freeing. They took a lot of my revenue, and it's kind of like freeing because now I'm not, I used to, I still work hard, but I used to have more stress because I'm like, I got to do this. Now I'm just kind of free flowing, but I'm still trying to work hard. The only reason I haven't done more videos recently is because I was at the Trump rally, but 2 days ago, my video on the flu, that's a good video. That's a Tucker Carlson level video. And then I go to the rally, but I always feel like I have to work because I don't like to, especially now that my Patreon's getting higher, I'm like, I don't want to just run away like a bandit with this money. I want to provide good journalism, but I got to take breaks sometimes too, or else, I go crazy. So, all right, let's see. Someone said Francis Schaeffer rocks. I don't even know who that is. Check out Wall Builders for history stuff. I'll check it out. My thing is this, and I figured this out because I never really liked to read when I was younger. Actually, that's not true. When I was really young, I loved reading. Then I just became a loser in school and stuff. I don't know. I just didn't feel like reading. Now I love reading, but this is my personal theory, and I think it holds a lot of weight. Get the books from the actual person. If you want to know what Karl Marx really thought, read his books. If you want to know what Hitler thought, read his book. If you want to know what Stalin thought or Mao thought, I have a quote here. Let me see if I have it here. Hold on a second. I don't like Mao Zedong, but I have a Mao Zedong book. Look, quotations from Mao Zedong. I don't want to hear what Alex Jones says about Mao Zedong. I want to hear what Mao Zedong says about Mao Zedong. So if you want to know what they actually thought and said, get their own books. To me, that's the best way to accurately navigate through history, because before I read the Communist Manifesto, I didn't understand Karl Marx. All I heard was Dinesh D'Souza, or, people talk about communism. I like Dinesh, and I like his daughter a lot. She's really nice to me. I like his whole family's fantastic. But in general, I'm just saying I was taking, words from somebody else. I didn't know what Karl Marx thought, but then I read his book, and I'm like, oh, it's not that communism doesn't work because it's a naive theory. If you read the Communist Manifesto, it's very short, only 40, 50 pages. The whole thing is a lie. The whole thing is a total setup. It's anti-Christian, anti-Western world. It looks like it's designed to give all the money to the top of the pyramid. It doesn't look like a naive thing where it's like, we're going to spread it and it doesn't work. It's not designed to spread. I don't even know where he says it's going to spread. He makes broad statements about how everybody's going to be better, but if you read the Communist Manifesto, let me get it here. I'll just read it real quick. So you got the Communist Manifesto. He's got 10 different things. I'll read them to you real quick. This is right out of his book. See, I have it highlighted. Abolishment of property in land and all rents, a heavy progressive tax, abolition of all right of inheritance, so you can't have any generational wealth, confiscation of property, centralization of credit in the hands of the state, a national bank, centralization of the means of communication of transport in the hands of the state. Does this sound like it's going to get to the working people? You got to be a moron. I feel bad. I've been arguing with communists on Twitter, just trolling them because they got the hammer and sickle and they're all mad at me now. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to save you a future. I love you. God bless you, communists. God bless you, socialists. Anomaly loves you even though your ideas suck. Karl Marx does not want to share the wealth with you. He's taking everything. It doesn't even sound good. It's like, give Karl Marx all the means of the banking and communication. He's trying to enslave you. He's like, give me everything and then I'll spread it around. It's like, no, you're not. No one needs to abolish private property. You could build a whole neighborhood in Arizona or Utah. You don't need to steal black people's, millions of black people have houses now, but the way to get black people more wealth is to abolish private property. This is it's not for black people. It's not for Hispanic people. The whole thing is a joke. So, point I'm getting to, I went on a tangent. If you want to understand, and this is a controversial statement because people don't want to get these texts because it's like, you feel like a bad person, but if you want to understand Marx, read Marx. If you want to understand Hitler, read Hitler. If you want to understand Mao Zedong, read Mao Zedong. If you want to understand Stalin, read Stalin. And then you can understand what they really thought and what they really said. And then you can compare it with what other people say. But what I found is reading a lot of these texts is like what people said they said or what they thought. A lot of it is not really what they said. But also what you say and what you do are also two different things as well. But, you know, a lot of history is like passed down just like, oh, Karl Marx wanted this and that. Like, no, he really didn't, because I read the book. Like, it's not that it doesn't work. It does work, but it's not designed to work. You get what I'm saying? And I think even today, you look at how the press, talks about Trump. Like, their mindset is so skewed. The best way to learn what Trump really thinks is to listen to Trump speak. If you listen to a full Trump speech, you can understand what he says. You don't have to agree with it. You could be like, whoa, I don't agree with that immigration policy. But if you listen to Trump in his full words, you'll hear exactly what he actually means. And then you can decide what you agree with or disagree with. But with people like Stalin and Mao, they didn't have really video footage, or not that much at the time. So you got, books were the main form of communication. So read their books. That's the only way, in my opinion, to get like a real authentic telling of history, besides somebody who makes a fantastic documentary and shows receipts. But a lot of these documentaries are skewed as well. They're biased documentaries that they don't match what was actually said. But Patty from New Jersey, what's up, Patty? Who am I voting for? Trump, Republican. In California, the props, I'm voting yes on 20, yes on 22, no on everything else. 20 is the crime thing. 22 is the Uber and Lyft thing. The rest are going no. Thank you, John. Appreciate you in Hawaii. Let me see what else I got here. Got some other stuff. Someone said Winston Churchill was actually an amazing human being. I've heard mixed reviews on Winston Churchill. Some people say he was fantastic. Other people say he was kind of sneaky. I haven't read Winston Churchill yet, so I don't really have a big opinion on him, either pro or con. I know some people love him, and that some people think he was like a total psyop, but I don't really take, I got to read what he actually wrote and what he did before I have a stance on that. So that's in the works. Right now, I'm working on some other stuff. Someone said, Anomaly, you are not a loser. Well, thank you, Ivette. I appreciate that. Carol said, what do you think about Chelsea Handler putting 50 Cent back in his place? It's embarrassing, but it's 50 Cent's own fault. I think he likes to make jokes and do stuff. It's hard to take a stand. It's hard to really tell people how you feel. That's why I have the utmost respect for, Brett Favre and Lil Wayne. It's not easy to unapologetically not back down. So yeah, 50 kind of bent the knee a little bit. So did Nick Cannon. No offense, but nobody's apology tour has been more pathetic than Nick Cannon's tour. He apologized for 2 months straight. Ridiculous. But someone said, be careful on the rent one. It's backwards in California too. Yeah, no, I think I'm voting no on everything except for 2. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Someone said, Tom said the papers over in China are saying that China is preparing to start a war with the United States. It's not out of the equation. It's tricky too, because this is I had a great talk with, he's one of the main guys at the Epoch Times. I don't know if you guys know Epoch Times, EPOCH Times. They're a good newspaper, but they started as an anti-communist Chinese newspaper. And the director of the West Coast, we sat for lunch a year ago, and he told me about living in China and how, he's so anti-communist, but he said America will win because of freedom. You get what I'm saying? We have freedom, so we have innovation, so we'll win. But here's the pros and cons of a free society. So if America and China were to go to war, I'm not saying we are, but say we would hard or soft war, the pro of China is that they operate flawlessly in the sense of it's a communist nation. So if they say something, everybody goes in lockstep. And if you don't follow what the communist regime wants you to do, they'll shut you down. I don't want that, but in times of war, it works better, to be honest. And that's why, your Russia and your China kind of do that a little more than here. But in America, we have free will. But the problem is in China, you don't have the media working against the Chinese government. You don't have as much dissent because it's not allowed. I don't agree with that. But in America, if we go to war, we're not just worrying about China. Facebook is against America. Twitter's against America. Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, what's his name? I'm trying to think. Jack Dorsey, al-Baghdadi, Google. All of our biggest companies are against us. Uber and Lyft are against. Almost every major corporation, every major media company is not just like dissenting of the government. They're straight up anti-America. They've been brainwashed by, propaganda over the decades from different countries, from foreign and domestic enemies, to the point where we're screwed. So China could probably figure out how to go to war with us and do pretty well. We might have weapons, we might have a good army, the best, but we are divided by race, gender. All these stupid things that we do in America are the perfect way to just screw over a country from within. So it's like they're probably looking at us and being like, dude, this is so easy to destroy America because they have all these problems, and they're not working in lockstep. The media will not let us work in lockstep. Trump is the ultimate uniter in the sense of he doesn't care if you're black or Hispanic, just love the country, appreciate it, don't commit crime, and you're fine. Good people love Trump. When I was at the Trump rally, you don't meet anybody that is like a racist or a neo-Nazi. No, you have families, Mexican families. To be honest, white people were the minority there. It's mostly Latinos, but it's like Mexican women, families, kids, just the greatest people, white, black, Asian, Vietnamese. Like, these are great people. You don't have this crowd. So, if China were to start a war with America, to me, although we have a good army, they have the upper hand in the sense that they can move in lockstep and America can't. And it's very interesting reading old books, reading old communist books and Marxist books and different perspectives from World War II, because this was the same thing they were doing back in World War I and World War II. The Marxists were trying to destroy nationalism, and you had, countries that really were trying to reject that. And you had, the blow up in World War II, I would say would be like Russia and Hitler, where like it boiled to a point that just got insane and people died and it was terrible. But like we don't really learn, in my opinion, an accurate story of why did it get to that point? Like, why did it get to the point where Hitler became the leader of Germany and it got to that point? Why did Russia get so bad that Stalin was just killing millions of people? What happened before that? What did Lenin do? These are things I never really, you learn about it, like Lenin, Hitler, Stalin, you're like, yeah, they're all bad. But you don't really understand how it really came to be. And I'm not, Trump is not Hitler, and, these people are not Stalin, but in a way, it seems like it's leading in that direction, in the sense of it seems to be boiling up in the same way where certain people are acting insane. And then, the crazier that they get, there's a reverse reaction where I say that Trump is nowhere near Hitler. However, if they don't let Trump do what he needs to do and do basic America stuff kindly, in 10 years, imagine if AOC became president, and imagine if far left radicals like the communist types became controllers of the country. And then you had tech censorship, and you had 4 or 8 years of that. Who do you think is going to rise on the right wing or on the left wing? It's going to be a crazy leader, because things get desperate, the economy gets destroyed, there's nothing, and people cling to someone crazy. Even Trump is kind of crazy compared to other people, but that's what America wanted, because, Mitt Romney was a total con artist. Obama was a con artist. George Bush was a con artist. People are looking for something real, but Trump's not that bad. But in 10 years, someone will be that bad, because it's going to be like that or nothing. And I don't want it to happen, but that's kind of what I'm learning with all these things they were doing back then. It's the same sort of patterns. You had the communists taking over. You had, the Marxists being insane. You had, people trying to be nationalistic, and they got beaten down. And then you had just a massive resurgence that was just so extreme that it wasn't healthy. And then you had, the big clash where multiple regimes out of control with millions of people dying. And I pray that doesn't happen again. I don't want it to, but accurately going through this stuff, I'm like, I see the parallels. I see why they compare certain people to certain people. It doesn't make it right. I don't think it's accurate. I don't think this is the same thing, but I definitely see the parallels. And same with 1930s and 1940s. If you listen to anti-communist in America, this is not really a new thing. It feels new to us, and it's extreme. It's more extreme because it's bubbling to the point of like really extreme. But you've had waves of this stuff, and if you look at the McCarthy thing, you learn about that in history class. They say McCarthy, he said there were a bunch of communists, and they teach you in school like he was crazy. He just went nuts and just started calling everyone communist. In the book Color, Communism, and Common Sense by Manning Johnson, a black communist who left and he was more right-wing, conservative, he said that McCarthy was right. And I've heard that from credible people as well, where it's like, no, McCarthy was actually right. There were a bunch of communists in the U.S. government. It's just the communists won, so they just made him look crazy. And now you learn that he's this psycho just seeing communists everywhere, but the more I read books, I'm like, no, he was probably right. There probably were this many communists in the government. They just won. And same with World War II. You had, who did America work with to defeat Nazi Germany? You had them work with communists. So the reason that, Nazism is the worst brand you've ever heard of in your life. This is the most, you can't, it's the worst thing you hear of. But communism is just as bad, perhaps even worse. If you compare the death rate, they kill more people. They're both bad, but you could be a communist and they don't care because they won the war. You get what I'm saying? The people who win the war write the history and then so there's a reason that communism is like so. You could openly be a communist and like that's totally fine. It's not random. It's because, I think they've been here for a long time. They've been running the show. And a lot of other countries have a vested interest in America being communist, from China to Russia to, even there's ethnic and religious, sects of this too. And there's people in certain ethnicities and certain religions who have this ideology. And that's why it's so bad to just censor people all the time. Because like if you say everything's racist and everything's sexist, hold on, I'm gonna charge this real quick. Sorry, my charger fell out. I just don't want my phone to die. But it's really bad to just call everything racist and sexist and anti-Semitic because like most Jewish people don't care about this stuff. But there are certain Jewish people with a certain agenda that is religious and ethnic. But if you say it, they call you an anti-Semite. But it's factual. It's just not everybody. But it's like saying, what's going on with Islam? Like 90% of Islam is doing their own thing and they just want to be left alone. But there's also certain people that want certain things. So, when people just say it's Islamophobic or anti-Semitic or racist or sexist, it's doing such a disservice to like intelligent thought. But that's why people like George Carlin said, fascism is, or political correctness is fascism with manners. That's exactly what it is. The people in power, there's a reason they call things anti-Semitic. There's a reason they call things Islamophobic. They don't want you to talk about that. They want to do what they're doing using certain Jewish people. Some of them are Jewish themselves. Using certain Muslim groups. Some of them are Muslim themselves. Using certain Christian groups. Some of them are, have the biggest churches in America compromised, and the Vatican and the Pope. It's not all Christians' fault, but these are real things and they have real ideologies and there's a real way that they feel. So these words that they use, which I'm writing my book about, it's such a joke where like even on the right wing they're like, you're anti-Semitic, you're sexist, you're a homophobe. It's like these words mean nothing to me because unless you're like openly just like F everybody in the world, it's like, all right, dude, calm down. If you're not doing that, it's not sexist, it's not racist. It's like I'm reading how they feel and they're telling you how they feel. There's certain plots to do certain things and people wouldn't believe it. Like, as far as like what's going on in Israel and Palestine and Saudi Arabia, like there are ethnic plots, there are religious plots, there are end world prophecies, there are groups like the World Health Organization and Bill and Melinda Gates, and they have things that they're doing for different reasons. Some for ethnic, some for religious, some for power, some for control, some for, some sort of technocracy. So you got to be able to talk about it, but that's why they call everything names. But the more I'm reading history and learning, I'm like, I see the parallels between now and World War II. And, the only reason I see them now is because I'm actually reading the texts, like authentic texts, rather than just hear like secondhand information about what happened. But I think in World War II, I think communists were doing a lot, and I think they won the war. And the Nazis who didn't win the war, like, the Nazis lost the war to America and Russia. A lot of the talented ones just came to the United States. They took 1,600 of the top engineers, scientists, space programmers like Wernher von Braun, and they just brought them to the U.S. in a covert operation called Operation Paperclip. So the way we learned history is just not even remotely true. But it's my hot take for the night. I'll probably stay for like 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna take off. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. I'll be back hopefully with a new video tomorrow about the Trump rally. I got a lot of cool footage. I should have it done by tomorrow, but we'll see. Brandon said we're heading to civil war 100%. Yeah, maybe, and this is another thing that I think about too. You know, I'm not a fearmonger, an alarmist. Like, I think it should be fine, but with what's going on, a lot of it is like wear and tear. And this is the sick game they're playing in America, because some of the people that are socially engineering, like anti-white and anti-America and anti-family, they're only doing it for you. They know exactly what they're doing. A lot of these people are ethnic supremacists themselves. They love their race. They keep their bloodline pure. They're the most bloodline people. They're like Hitler level, you know, blood purists. They do that for themselves, and then they tell everybody else not to do it. I'm not a blood purist. I'm mixed at this point. I'm like 5 different ethnicities, but I see that they're doing it. They just don't tell you they're doing it. So the point I'm trying to get to is that they know what they're doing. They're slowly wearing down the country, and they're slowly wearing down, you know, every ethnicity with these ideologies of like anti-family, like anti-gender. Like, this is not for the gay community. This is to just like destroy every ethnic group in America, to the point where there's just so much division and so much chaos, lack of self-accountability, lack of strong men. It's not random. They'll tell you that they don't want you to talk about it. When you talk about it, they'll call you sexist or something, but like, they know exactly what they're doing. They're not randomly doing this because they're dumb. They're trying to destroy this country and destroy the strong people, destroy the First Amendment, destroy the Second Amendment, destroy strong black men, destroy strong Hispanic men, destroy strong white men, and destroy women, destroy their psyche, destroy their real superpowers, you know, as a woman, and make them buy this false lie. They know what they're doing now. They're like I said, like, they're some of the biggest ethnic supremacists on the planet. Like, they do not believe in the same rules that they say to you. It's like the Democratic governor who says every business is closed, and then Gavin Newsom keeps his wine store open, or Nancy Pelosi, you got to wear a mask, and then she's they don't believe in the rules for them. They're just for you. So, you know, the more you read about who these people are, what they believe, this is why I can't jive with a lot of right-wingers too. It's like, I see, you know, a lot of the ethnic component to this, of what they're doing, and I don't think it's racist to talk about. It's not like I have a huge stance of like myself, I'm trying to keep my blood pure. That's not how I feel. I'm not even pure anything. I'm so mixed, it's insane. But I see other people doing it, and I want to be able to talk about what they're doing and how they're doing it without being shut down as a conspiracy theorist or a racist, because you'll all see in 20 or 30 years, everything that people on the right wing that get banned and censored by other right-wingers, they tell you that's anti-Semitic, that's sexist, that's homophobic, you know, don't listen to them, just listen to Charlie Kirk. You're going to find out that a lot of stuff that the further right people are saying, not all of it, some of it's crazy, but a lot of it's actually true. And you're not hearing it from the right wing, the main right wing, because they're compromised, or they're liars, or they just want money and power, and they don't care about long-term stuff. But these people who really control society, and these people who really are socially engineering people, they think 100 years in the future. They think 50 years in the future, because the world is a math problem at a certain point. Elon Musk talks about it. Jack Ma from China talks about it, where with birth rates, it's not racist. It's just how it's going to be. Like the number one baby name in England is Muhammad. You could think or say what you want, but that's happening because they're having more babies, and the people running the show are systemically, purposely doing that to go to these sort of places and, you know, mix everything and get certain people in power and other people out of power. And you could say that's racist for noticing, but what you don't understand, and what the liberals don't understand, is the people who are orchestrating this, they're the most purist supremacists on the planet. They're so ethnic, they create their own countries for themselves. They have a whole plot for just them. So they're going to leave everyone else in the dust and go off on their own. And that's what they're doing, whether you want to admit it or not. So it's like, I know this stuff because I study it and I see it and I read it. And then when you present what they're doing, people will say, well, that's racist, well, that's sexist, well, that's xenophobic, well, that's anti-Semitic, well, that's Islamophobic. No, it's like, it's a factual thing. And they're looking 60 years in the future, and they're looking at birth rates, and they're looking at ethnicity, and the more that America goes a certain direction, they're not using it to bring everyone together. They're purposely pushing people apart. You know, they're doing so much evil stuff, and then instead of bringing these people together, they're purposely just destroying them. So it's a total concerted effort to do so. But when you learn about it, people think you're crazy, but I guess that's, a response to actually knowing stuff nowadays. The more you know, the crazier you look. But if I would have said that they were going to put masks on everybody this year, everybody would have said you were insane last year, but that's what happened. So, the truth is not always popular, and, the people who really socially engineer society, they're not morons. They're not thinking about, one or two things. They're thinking 60, 70 years in the future. They're thinking, birth rates, they're thinking race, they're thinking social cohesion, and they're actively doing really messed up stuff, in my opinion, that doesn't benefit me. And at the end of the day, Black people in America, they look out for themselves, or they try to, they attempt to say, I want the platinum plan. I want, Black empowerment, or whatever. It's like they look at each other as an ethnic group. Jewish people do the exact same, probably to a bigger extent than most other ethnic groups do on the planet. So the people who do a lot of that then turn around and say, you can't do that. But if they get their way, this is the problem. I don't care where I live. I don't care about race. But people of my ethnicity, they're not really racist. I mean, you could say there's some, but like for the most part, in most cities and stuff, they don't care. But I see their politics and their ethnic agenda, and I'm like, well, clearly they hate me, like not all people, but you're like, you see what they would do when they get to that point, and it's not going to be pretty. But if you see what they're doing and you call it out and you're like, listen, you have this plan for your ethnicity. You're all going to go to this country and live amongst yourselves. You're basically just waiting to the point where you can go live in an ethnic, supremacy land with yourself. And that's up to you, but that's not for me. You're going to leave America and leave me here, but they get to do all this for, so it's like, I don't even care about it, but I see that you do, and I can just do basic math. So it's like, yeah, in 50 years, you're going to screw us over, and then anybody who recognizes where the future is going is labeled as a crazy person until it happens, and then it's too late. So, these are trends that are just happening whether people want to admit it or not, and things will change very quickly, just like they did this year. I mean, in an instant, you lost everything. You lost your right to open your business, your right to, visit certain elderly people, your right to get groceries for a few weeks, your right to walk one way down. This is how quick it's going to change in the future as well. And it is what it is. But, the more you learn, the less you could really say. Let's see. Paul said, I remember saying over 20 years ago that in the future, everyone will wear a mask. Until 2020, I never knew how right it was. Wow, Paul, that's foresight, my man. That's an impressive prediction. James said, loved your interview with David Nino Rodriguez. Thank you. Yeah, it's I think it's on his Instagram page. Check out David Nino Rodriguez, former boxer. He had me on an interview last week. See, I always think I'm underperforming because I work so hard, and I feel like, I'm just not a slacker. So I feel like I do more work than anybody, but I forget. Like, I'm like, I need to get working. But I just dropped a video 2 days ago. I did a live rally thing. I did his interview. I'm always working, but I feel like it's never enough because I don't want to underperform. Glenda said, years ago, people were raised not to date outside their race. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, that was like status quo back in the day. That's just the way, I forget who was saying, but that's just how it was. Even Muhammad Ali, that was a controversial statement. He said, he's like, bluebirds fly with bluebirds, and nowadays there's certain people who still feel that way and certain people who don't. And the problem is that people have the right to talk about certain things. That's all I'm saying. Because there's certain Black parents who say, I want you to marry someone Black. That's fine. Certain people say, you're Asian, you should marry someone Asian. But what I'm even saying is like, the people at the top and the people who are really socially engineering society, they're like genetic supremacists, unlike anything you probably even can fathom. So it's like, the big hypocrisy is, I don't care what people do. If you want to stick within your own race, it doesn't bother me. If you don't, if you want to, have a Black wife and you're white, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. But what people don't understand is they're being socially engineered to be intolerant to anybody who feels that way. Like, you have to do this, you have to do this. But the people who are orchestrating it from the top are the biggest genetic supremacists. It's insane. So it's like they do crazy stuff. If you guys might not know, but Epstein got caught with his DNA all over the place, or what, I don't know exactly what he's doing, but like they think 100 years in the future. They think hundreds of babies, you know, on some Genghis Khan stuff. They're thinking like, let's do this, let's do that, and then let's do all this stuff. Like they're social manipulators to a level that most people don't even understand. And it's interesting stuff, but it's like, you sound crazy when you talk about it, and it comes off racist to people who are just intolerant. But I mean, some people say toilet paper is racist, or like, but those are the type of people that you would never trust with power or anything. Like they get into power and then they act like total psychopaths. It's like, you know, I'll vote for the black conservative 10 times out of 10 before I ever vote for the psychotic white liberal. I still don't care about ethnicity in the sense of I want, you know, content of character and quality. But I also want the freedom to talk about these trends that I'm reading about and these trends that I'm finding out about certain religions and certain ethnicities. Like, not everyone thinks that way. And I think it's interesting. And I do think the people in power are trying to scramble people up every which way. And I'm not even saying like interracial dating is scrambling, but I am saying like scramble up your head, scramble up your family, scramble up the wife and the mother, scramble people together, and then divide them once you get them together. It's like divide and conquer. So in every which way, they're doing these things purposely, and it's doable to get over it, but in a way they know exactly what they're doing. And that's why, you know, there's never going to be division or never going to be unity in this country if the media and the liberals get their way. They need to be held accountable or challenged, because their ideology is not sustainable. The only way America can possibly succeed right now, being this diverse, being this at this state, is with the Trump ideology. It doesn't have to be Trump, but like, America, I love this place. I don't care if I'm Asian. Like, you go to a Trump rally, there's, you know, Asians for Trump, Vietnamese. People love the country and they want to do their own thing, and they're not trying to call everyone racist. It's like, just do your thing and go home. The liberals, they have intersectionality, but it's all divisive. It's all like, you owe me this, you do this. Well, you're a the black liberal women are the biggest anti-black men on the planet. Like, they're like, oh, black men are not doing what we want them to do. It's because you're insane. Any smart black man is not going to support liberal black women politics. And then they freak out. It's like, everything is so just gross on the left wing. It's unsustainable for every ethnic group, but it's most importantly unsustainable for America. It just doesn't work, because it's all divide. It's all just like backwards, upside down world stuff. The only way this country survives and thrives is with a right-wing ideology of like, you know, put the country over everything else. And if you want to do anything ethnic, that's fine. Just, you know, just don't kill somebody and don't commit crimes. That's it. Like, you could be a black supremacist in America. It's like, just live where you want and don't hurt anybody and no one cares. You know, it's like, but once you mess everything else up, then it's like, yeah, it's not going to work. So like, the media is just gross, and liberal politicians, we'll never live in peace with these people. They constantly just scramble everybody's minds. Connie says strawberry waffles are scrumptious. I have to agree. It's very true. Let me see this. Please, can you answer Dean about Trump and unions? He's struggling. Well, I'll say this. I have family members who are union members. I think one of them's voting for Trump. My Democrat family has always voted Democrat because of unions, you know. Postal unions, teachers unions. I understand a lot of the unions are very left-wing, and traditionally, I mean, I'm not like a worker for the GOP, so I can't really tell you what they're going to and going to not do, but from what I know, a lot of union people vote left-wing because, you know, they see the Democrats as pro-union and they see the right wing as anti-union. Me personally, from a place, I'm not in a union. I have family in a union. I can see both sides of it. My family in a union says this. He says there's pros and cons. The pro is they'll protect you. You know what I'm saying? If you're a union worker and you screw up a bunch of times, for the most part, they'll find you a new job and they'll protect you. But you know, the teachers unions and certain postal unions, it gets to the point where they get a little bit out of control. Like the teachers union is psychotic. The teachers union in Los Angeles, they're socialist communist psychopaths. They won't open the schools until they get like a bunch of progressive communist policies. It has nothing to do with the virus. So at that point, it's like, are you a union, or are you just like a communist group that just is destroying teaching in America? And with stuff like, postal workers and police unions and stuff, at a certain point, they just become tyrannical because they don't, it's like you can't get rid of somebody that's bad. No matter how bad they are, they'll protect you. So there's two sides. But I will say this, I've always heard from Democrats and family members, like, they're always afraid they're going to do this to the teachers, they're going to do this to the unions, they're going to do this to the postal office. They never do it. I don't think Republicans really care that much. Trump was in office for 4 years. Did he destroy your union? Did he take anything? I think Trump has bigger fish to fry. But if he and Republicans do anything to unions, I'm sure it's probably going to be better. No offense, but it's like, I think the unions have too much power, and they started off as a good thing, and now they've just kind of become a problem. Like the teachers union, I don't support the teachers union at all. I support teachers. I want them to get paid, but like the LA teachers union is psycho. I don't know. They're doing a lot more than just protecting workers, but that's the balance though. I mean, how much do you want to reform without losing? It's tough. Someone said union is good and bad. Exactly. There's pros and cons. That's it. That's exactly it. Shelly said, thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, I think they need to be reformed. But a lot of things in this country need to be reformed. It's tough, though, because like people scream bloody murder whenever you try to reform anything. That this country's tricky. I mean, anybody that gets something done productive in this country, people are going to freak out at them. The media is so dishonest, too, where it's like, with healthcare, there's a debate to be had. Universal health, I get the debate, but we never get to the bottom of anything because they never tell the truth. They didn't tell people how Trump helped millions of people by getting rid of the individual mandate. And the individual mandate does not just hurt wealthy people. It hurt me when I had no money. I know it stole thousands of dollars from me. It sucked. So, but they don't tell my story. We could say, well, this person got hurt and this person got saved. That's the truth. There's always going to be pros and cons. This person got health care. This person lost everything. They lost their house because they had to pay so much. This is the reality of what happens. But the media says, if you do this, 20 million people are going to die. Like they just BS. They're so evil. There's no real discussion in this country. Like you can't get to the bottom of anything about unions, about healthcare, because it's like everyone's going to die or everyone's going to get saved. But usually what they're saying is the good thing is the worst thing. And what they're saying is the worst thing is actually the best thing. But yes, there's nuance. Of course, not everyone's going to like it. There's no plan that's going to work for everyone unless they're just doling out money and no one gets inflation, penalties or something. But it's nutty. Someone said important discussions about unions. This is divided families. A lot of things are dividing families, but that's I'll say this too. While I've already talked a lot of shit this time, so it's already a controversial stream. There's debate, there's discussions about you look at the old traditional family and it's like, they're like the progressive will say that's so bad. The woman's in the household and the man's doing this. And then you have conservatives who say, there's women CEOs and stuff, but there's nothing wrong with being a housewife if you can or want to be. And I think there's some truth on both sides, but overall, I usually think the truth lands on the conservative side because, I'm not saying women shouldn't be in politics, but I think there's a huge pressure for women to be involved. Like, you have to do this. You have to work. You have to, work a 9 to 5. You want to work a desk job. And the truth is most women don't want to. So, at a certain point, families are divided because women have all this pressure to do all this stuff. You should be in politics. You should pay attention to this. When in reality, back in the day, they used to just tune out and let their husband make the moves. Men could vote, women couldn't vote until the 19th Amendment. And I think at a certain point, property owners voted. And at a certain point, other people didn't have a full vote either. I'm not sitting here saying it was amazing, but I'm saying when it comes to women not voting, I think there were pros and cons to that too. The con is if you're a woman and you're smart, you can't vote. The pro is you don't have to be a politician. You don't have to be a worker. You don't have to get involved in this disgusting, evil fight of politics. You could trust your husband to take care of it for you. And I think if you look at women voting patterns, on average, women don't vote properly. They vote emotionally instead of logically. and they're a lot easier to fool, which is why the media spends a lot of time on them. For, buying for the family, women are the big money makers. So all the diamond commercials and all the food commercials, they're all targeted towards women. Why? Because women are easier to get to buy things, but also they control the husband for finances. And that's the thing with the way it used to be. I think women have power. They still control their husband in a lot of ways. They control the family. They have babies. They could be a CEO if they want. But I personally, the more I learn, the more I believe, I don't think this is I think a lot of women are going crazy over politics on the left and the right. I think women are losing their minds and men are losing their minds. But at a certain point, it's like going to war. If you want to be a female warrior, you can, but it's I don't think women should have to feel like they have to go fight a war. And this is a psychological and spiritual war. So I think, I think there was something to the traditional family where it's the women didn't have to worry about all this stuff, and they just knew that the man could take care of it. I'm not saying it was perfect, but you'd have a lot less division. But now you got the wife watches this, the husband watches this, the family, everybody's so divided off of politics and everything's just so scrambled. I think that's a conversation that will never even be had because they'll call it sexist, But I think there's a reason for it, and the proof is in the pudding. If you look at mental health, the amount of pharmacy pills, the amount of divorces, the amount of psychosis that is happening in certain liberal females now. So Lisa said, not sure I'm very logical. Depends on how your brain is wired and how you're raised. Well, absolutely. I just think on average, I don't think anybody, myself, you, men, women, Black, Asian, Hispanic, there's no singularity, and you're not your own person. There's a difference between Amelia Earhart, who flew a plane, and just a housewife. Some women are meant to do phenomenal things. I'm not suggesting. I'm just saying on average, if you look at voting patterns, women tend to vote liberal, and I think they tend to fall for coronavirus stuff a lot easier. I'm not saying everyone. There's millions of women who know what's going on. There's millions of logical women, more logical than men. I'm just saying the discussion about, when families are so divided and why they're divided and all this extra pressure and, responsibility on women, is it really the right solution, or is, dialing it back a little bit actually healthier for the majority of women? Not everybody. It's more I'm trying to inject the conversation, not tell you that, not telling that you can't do anything or that you're not logical, just saying that these are discussions that are not even able to be had because they would immediately get shut down. Kenya said the first step to dividing a nation is dividing the man and the woman. Absolutely. Rebecca said, not this woman. Well, clearly, yeah. I mean, the women who watch my channel are obviously very smart, and there's millions of women that are way stronger and more logical than a bunch of moron men out there. I'm not making a generalization. I'm just saying on average. It's like suggesting that all women want to go into the army and all women want to, work a desk job their whole life. I don't. Some do, but I don't think it's the best solution. It's similar to this. I'll say this, because when it comes to war or when it comes to police, there's some women who are just killer. There's certain, like you look at Dana Loesch or something, she could shoot a gun 100 times better than me. There's sharpshooter women all over the place. I'm not saying women can't do anything. Obviously, there's women who could do things better than men, but on average, you watch the WNBA and you watch the NBA, and you're clearly the guys are stronger. They could jump higher. Men are just stronger than women. That's just a factual physical statement, but not all men are stronger than all women. You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to law enforcement and the military, now it's you have more women than ever. But then I watched this story where in Philly, this woman gets hit by a car. She got run over and almost killed, a female police officer. Some female police officers are built for the job, but I think this whole push where it's let's get as many women police officers and military, it's I don't think that's a good idea. I think men physically on average are stronger than women, and if you want the strongest army, you got to have the strongest people. Some women can do it. I'm not knocking it, but I think most are not up to the job, and they get the job and then they get run over or they get shot. I'm not saying it happens all the time. Tulsi Gabbard could probably kick my ass. And, you know, like Dana Loesch could probably shoot me. But, you know, I think like, they're like, we need 50% women. Like, I don't know. We probably need like 5% women, because just physically, like, not all women are built for this, and they get hurt because, you know, if they're not built for it and you put them at a security guard position and they're not ready for it, just like if a man wasn't, it's not going to work out. But this is a conversation they would call you sexist for, but I don't know. It's like certain women can handle it, but there's this push to act like it's just like totally normal, but I don't see it. Like, for instance, someone told me, he asked me about the transgender thing in the military. He said, Anomaly, I like Trump, but like my friend that's gay told me about the trans in the military, like what's going on with Trump? And I explained, I'm like, it's not that, I don't even know that he banned transgenders in the military. I think what happened was he banned surgery. They were transgendering in the military. And I told him, I'm like, if you have a heart disease, you might not be able to get in the military. It's not a party. It's not a gay club. So it's like, they could say, Anomaly, you're not physically fit enough for the military. You're not allowed in. It's not up to me. I'm serving the United States military. It's not about me. It's about America. What's best for America? If me being in the military is not best for America, then I don't get to complain about it. I have to go home. So with like transgender, if you're transitioning, then you probably shouldn't be in the military, because it's not about you. It's about serving your country. So these are things you can't say, but it's like, it's not a big club where it's like, we need as many transitioning transgenders, as many women. Like, no, we don't. We need the strongest people. And there should probably be, you know, if you put men and women to the same test, probably most women aren't going to cut it. And some will, and they should be in. But this idea that it needs to be like intersectional and like 50-50, I think that's a horrible idea for the police force. I think it's a horrible idea for the military. I think the black female police chief from Seattle, who looked like a fantastic woman, she got run out of town. And I'm not saying it's because of her gender or anything, but it's like, you know, it's a tough job. And she didn't want it. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want it either. But it's like, you know, this is the military and the police is a tough job. So if you could really handle it, God bless you. But you know, I think political correctness is going to make our army and our police force weaker, personally. But you know, it is what it is. So Greg said he took them out of combat, not the military. He stopped us from having to pay. Yeah, no, I know, exactly. He stopped them from getting surgery on taxpayer money. But what I was telling my friend, I'm like, listen, I have gay friends too, but like, it's not about you. If they say, Anomaly, your hair's too long, I have to cut my hair. If I don't cut my hair, I don't go to the military. I can't say, well, I like my hair, it looks great. It's like, no, I cut it off. It's not about me. Being a police officer, it's not about your femininity. It's about, you have a gun. Can you protect this town, or are you going to get run over by a car because you're not strong or tough enough? You know, it's not a game. If I'm not tough enough, I can't go in the military. It's not like I cry a river and the whole military has to change for me and my sexuality. It's like, no, I need to go home. That's what the military is, and that's what the police force should be. It's like, these are things people aren't saying because everyone's afraid to say it, but I don't really care. You know, it's like, it's not anti-woman. It's just like reality. I'm not trying to watch the WNBA, NBA fusion with like half women players and half men players. I want to see LeBron James dunk on Jimmy Butler, because even the worst guy in the NBA is better than the best WNBA player, and that's just how it works. It's a much better game. They're stronger, and if you put women on the court, they'd get destroyed. I think the military is pretty similar, and the police force, depending on how, you know, equipped the woman is. But, you know, it's not going to be popular, but I don't care. Amber said, I have asthma, I can't join. Exactly. If you have asthma, you can't join. What's up, Kathy? Congrats. God bless. Yeah, if you have asthma, if you have certain heart conditions, if your feet are too flat or something, it's not, the military is not about me or you. It's like, it's about the country and what's best for a strong country. That's why we're screwed if we go against these, like China. China doesn't have the military working against them. China doesn't have all these stupid rules. Like, you know, this political correct BS is gonna screw America over. And you know, it's even on the right wing. It's like everything's homophobic. It's like, no, these words need to just stop. They need to stop using these words, because it's a way to say, I don't want to hear what you're saying. Let's write it off. This is going to work. It's not going to work. Eventually people are going to figure it out, but thanks, Dan. Danielle said, in Massachusetts, you can't buy cigarettes till you're 21 now, but you could go to war at 18. Well, yeah, that's just the government being insane, but that's, the rules don't make sense. Cindy said you're absolutely correct. Well, thank you, Cindy. Alexander said, women fought in wars in Viking cultures. I'm not sitting here saying women aren't going to do it. I'm just saying these are things that I think should be spoken about and talked about, as opposed to like total equality and like feminism. It's like, I'm sure women have been warriors. I'm sure they fought in Viking cultures, but to be honest, I'm sure the strongest women got their ass beat by the strongest men, just like in the WNBA. I'm sure the strongest Viking woman was no match for the strongest Viking man. Find me the WNBA player who is able to beat Jimmy Butler one-on-one. It doesn't exist. There's not a woman on the planet that can even come close to the top 20 people in the NBA. You put the best WNBA player against the entire NBA, she probably gets blown out 11-0 by all of them, or 11-3. It's just how it is. Jules said, I have an extra appreciation for the military and law enforcement because God made me a nurturer animal here. I would not be able to hurt anyone. God bless you. Danielle said, am I heightist because I prefer taller men over short? Yeah, I think people have preferences. I think there's biological reasons, but also some people like certain things. Like, I remember one time I was at the club and there was this really cute girl. This was years ago. I don't remember. She was white or Hispanic. I don't really remember. But she was like, I don't like white guys. I like Asian guys. And I was like, what? And she just like, she loved Asian guys. And it was like, and like this random Asian dude in a polo who just like showed up with his friend, started like making out with her. He was having the greatest time of his life. I was like, she just had a preference where it's like, you can't determine she can't feel that way. It's like, it's not up to you. Like, you're not allowed to do that. You have to like this people. People like certain things. I think nowadays we're pressured to think that everything has to be exactly the same, or you have to feel exactly how liberal media wants you to feel. And it's not how anything works. I mean, liberal women don't believe this thing for a second. Like, I'm sure when it comes to their own tastes in men and stuff, they don't believe the things that they write on social media. They want probably a strong guy or something. I don't know. But to each their own. Whoever wants whatever, it's up to them. But I don't like the words racist and sexist and xenophobic. Like, it just doesn't, like, it's so overused where it's like, can we have a real conversation about anything, or are we just gonna like slowly water down society to the point where we just get zapped? And that's the thing. Like, if you go to war and you're not strong enough, you lose. And when you lose, you're done. Like America we've been able to live a privileged life. Even if you're broke in America, you're still privileged over a lot of countries, because we're a strong country. We're strong economically and we're strong militarily. Without those two things, whether you love it or not, we would not be here. And we're losing kind of both of those things. We're losing a strong economy. They almost destroyed it this year purposely to destroy us, but that's a whole another topic. And then militarily, it's like we're getting watered down. Trump is the first one to kind of turn it around, but it's like, when it's getting watered down in 20 different ways, you should be able to talk about it. And you could say, anomaly, I don't agree. I think women are bitter warriors. That's fine, but don't call me sexist and don't shut down the conversation, because that's just a way to water the country down slowly, break you down. They're flipping, a lot of things socially. And then in 50 years, it's all going to hit you. And you're going to realize clearly the left wing was lying, the schools were lying, but you're going to find a lot of these other right wingers were lying too. And I think there's certain conservatives who, they care about power. They care about what's popular. They act like they're so anti-PC, but they for their own stuff, they're PC. And, the truth is not popular. And the more I read, the more I realize the more closer to the truth you get, you realize you're like, no one's going to like this. Like no one's going to want to hear this. It's not popular in either wing. Like what really happened, what's really going on, what really needs to be done in this country and in the world, like it's not going to be popular. But here's why I don't care. Like people say, aren't you afraid of that? Or what about that? It's like, you don't, at the end, there is no prize for being a coward. Like, if you don't do the right thing, or our country doesn't do the right thing, there is no like, oh, I'm safe because we did the wrong thing. Like, no, we're all screwed. You get what I'm saying? It's like it's worse not to say something. Like, you could feel comfortable for 5-10 years, but then you're going to be really, really uncomfortable like 10 years from now. And I'd rather be slightly uncomfortable now than, in 20 years live in a country where I'm like, man, I wish this wouldn't happen. And in general, like, people try to scare me and they're like, are you worried about what you say? And I'm like, what part of this year are you not paying attention to? Like, it's not like I'm in dire danger over here and you're just living a phenomenal free life. Like, we're all being treated like prisoners. You get what I'm saying? Like, I can't even go on an airplane or go to the store. Like this whole country has been turned into a prison state. So, like, don't you think that it's time to maybe say something? Or maybe you don't want to, but like, why would I be scared? Like, oh my God, what's the alternative? Like, everyone's living freely and I'm locked in a cage for telling the truth. No, everybody's getting treated like a prisoner. You get what I'm saying? Like, there is no prize at the end if you don't say anything or do anything. It's like, there's no prize. Like, we're free and Anomaly's locked up. Like, maybe if I went full Julian Assange or something, but I don't have documents like that. I'm not a whistleblower or a journalist like that of sorts. So, like, no, of course I'm not scared. I would be more scared to be a coward. Like, that, to me, that's scary, is like having to do what they tell me all the time, like, and just slowly wear me down. There's no prize at the end. I don't know who told you that, like, this is leading somewhere, but if 2020 didn't wake you up to that, like maybe 2 years ago, like, yeah, Anomaly, calm down. But like this year, it's like, what part of what's going on this year doesn't make you a little bit hesitant to realize that, like, just coasting by is not going to be a full solution? Like, this year's been crazy. They've upended society. And I'm grateful to live in this country because we have the biggest activist as the president of the United States. And as long as he's president, there's a safety net there. If he loses in big tech and Biden, like Obama, a lot of people don't know how many journalists he prosecuted. Obama was a nightmare. Trump is a freedom fighter. He just says you're fake news. He doesn't hurt any journalists. This would not happen if Biden won. So I don't want to live in that world anyway. So I'm gonna do what I can. But yeah, being afraid is not. There's no real benefit to it. I don't think. I think people think there is, and that's what they did this year. So many people bought into the fear of coronavirus, the fear of traveling, the fear of seeing your family. That's how they get you. If no one was afraid, we could get through it a lot quicker. More people could live. We could figure out solutions. There is no benefit to fear. For some reason, people think being afraid is like giving them sort of extra protection, but it's actually the opposite. It actually hurts you worse. And that's how they control people, even more than like assassinations and stuff. Like, yeah, I mean, like certain people at high levels doing crazy stuff. You steal documents and sue somebody at a high level. Like, yeah, they might come for you, but like overall, they control people with fear. Like when people apologize in celebrity world, I don't think they're getting threatened. No one's coming to their door and saying, hey, if you don't, stop talking about Trump, we're going to kill you. Like, I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's just like, if you don't stop talking about Trump, you're going to lose this job. You're not going to be on The Masked Singer. Everyone's going to look at you like a racist. It's more like social and financial pressure on these people. And everyone's afraid of the media and everyone's afraid of society. They're afraid. The fear is how they control people. That's the number one controller. It's not as bad as people think. It's like they're afraid of it. And that's what allows them to win. For instance, like, you outnumber Biden and Trump and whoever it is. Millions of people outnumber them. So like the fact that everyone's so afraid of Hillary Clinton is what gives Hillary Clinton power. Oh my God, if he says that, she's coming for them. Like that's where the power is, in the fact that millions of people don't want to say or do anything because they're afraid of what she might do. That's how they have power, because if 1 million people did it, it's over. But if everybody doesn't do it because they're all afraid, like Trump was not afraid. And what happened to him? Nothing. He's fine. There's a risk, but there's a risk to anything. It's worse for your health. It's more risky and more dangerous, in my opinion. It's more dangerous to be afraid than it is to be courageous. I don't think it's as safe as people think. I think that's what they make you think, so you never do anything. So then they always have you, locked up. Whereas if you say what's real and you do it, it's not as bad as people think. And especially in 2020, it's like for anybody, including myself, we lost everything anyway. It's not like everybody who didn't say anything gets to live freely. Like everyone gets treated the same. This this is like the end stage. But Gary, I hear you, brother. God bless you. David said it won't share. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure the dynamic there, but I'm gonna go in a little. I know I said 5 minutes like an hour ago, but this is fun. All right, we'll head out. God bless you guys. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. As they say on television, vote, 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 vote. They're always like, vote. I'm like, you want me to vote Democrat, but I know you just say vote. But yeah, everybody, I guess, vote if you want to vote. If you don't want to vote, don't vote. But I'm going to vote tomorrow maybe, or Monday. I'm not sure. Maybe on election day. I haven't voted yet, but I want to vote closer to the election. But thank you guys for being here. I'll have new videos all week. I'll go live, I'm sure, soon. And I'm going to work on, hopefully tonight, a little compilation of the Trump rally I was at. It was very fun, and I got some cool footage. So I'll try to get that out tomorrow morning or tomorrow during the day if I can, because I'm going to chop this up and put it on YouTube too. But I got some stuff involved, and the election is Tuesday. Pretty exciting. I'm pumped. I probably won't go live. Maybe I'll do a live or something, but I'll probably do a video after. I'll figure it out. I don't really have a huge plan for election day. I kind of want to watch and just see what's going on, but maybe I'll do a video or two and figure it out. But it's going to be a crazy day, and big tech is prepping us for it to take like 3 weeks or something. So I would say this. I don't know where you guys live, but try to stay safe. Stay in a safe area. If you live in Los Angeles or Washington, D.C., or any of these liberal cities, I would prepare for it to be like destroyed. And I'm not trying to be a fearmonger, but like, I'm saying there's like a 0% chance that LA and Portland, they don't have, and Washington, they're going to have protests turn into riots. The media is going to cover it up, the whole nine. You'll be fine. But if you live in those cities, just be aware of that. I wouldn't be driving around like middle of downtown Los Angeles on Tuesday night or anything. I feel like it's going to get a little weird. But besides that, I wouldn't be afraid of it. I don't think it's going to be that bad. Just the normal little riots until they actually get their city back. But God bless you guys. I'll be back later this weekend sometime, and I got a video tomorrow.